Take a look. Monday, April the 8th, 2024. I am Actual Pro. It's time to get in the weeds. Jeremy Lambert is here. He's finished one story before. Quite frankly, he's finished over 300 of them over the last few days. Hello, Jeremy Lambert. How are you this morning other than tired?
Joel, I don't get tired. I don't drink much coffee. Look at this. We got the Danielson shirt that I created but could not get for free, and my wife had to buy it for me. We got the Taylor Swift mug. I did not create the mug. Wife also bought this for me. Good person, that wife. I'm here. I'm good. It was a long weekend, but you know, in the world of wrestling, the stories never finish. You do one and you move on to the next.
That's right. It never ends except for when the story finishes, and then you got to create a new story, of which there are many stories. But for the last time, at least until May, we'll use that Rock intro. That's it. He's done. He doesn't exist anymore. The Rock's
Really?
gone. He's never showing up again. That's how it works, right? He's just gone. That's it. We're never going to see him again. He's just poof, vanished into Moana thin air, right? Yeah. He's now the vapors of Terramana.
Feels like he might be on the show tonight.
Yeah, he's probably going to be on Raw tonight. And it's probably going to be good, and I'm all for it.
They haven't announced a thing for this show.
Raw After Mania is back, baby. You don't need to know what's going on. You just need to know hot show. Let's go. It'll be like the coronation of Cody Rhodes, the juxtaposition of Gunther's loss. Sami Zayn's going to be out there. Listen, there's going to be a lot of stuff falling out of WrestleMania. Is CM Punk okay? Is he actually secretly healed? Maybe what he said on the MMA Hour was like his way of kind of hinting subtly that I'm fine. Took off the brace. Nah, he wasn't wearing the brace later on for the Cody Rhodes celebration. Maybe Punk's okay. It's gonna be Greg's got it. It's gonna be PWG Monday Night Raw Mystery Vortex.
I hope it's just R-Truth and Miz for 3 hours, just doing things.
You think Cody comes out in a pink bathrobe?
No, Cody. I don't think Cody owns anything like butt suits, track suits, 3-piece suits. If it has suit in it, Cody wears it.
Sweatsuits.
Yeah.
No, just sweatpants and a sweat top. Or maybe he's got a sweat, bathrobe.
Maybe. Should come out as Stardust.
That's kind of what you said when he said butt suits. You kind of put the emphasis on it, so it sounded like he said butt suits.
Oh, I mean, maybe. I don't know what kind of suits this man has. All right.
That's true. I don't either, but we're going to talk about a big WrestleMania weekend and a big WrestleMania week. Had a busy few days. We all did. And of course, at 11:40 a.m. Eastern, we said it earlier last week, but we're scheduled to be joined by TNA X Division champion Mustafa Ali. Going to talk a little bit about his TNA run. We're going to talk about his House of Glory match because he put that X Division championship on the line against the Amazing Red. So damn it, we're talking about it. And of course, we'll talk about TNA Rebellion. That's coming up in a couple of weeks in Las Vegas. So we're looking forward to welcoming Ali onto the show. We get to scoop Sean Ross Sapp, Jeremy Lambert. We get to scoop him
until he shows up on this show and just goes into business for himself.
It's true. All of my questions off the board. Sean's just going to ask him and work himself into a shoot. Anyway, if you haven't yet, leave a thumbs up on the video. You want to point to the sign one last time?
I don't know.
Get our pyro ready. Let's finish the story, Jeremy Lambert. We got to. There it is.
Look at that! Look, there's like fireworks going off behind. Hold on.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Let's bring out the pyro.
I'm very curious about this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's go.
Look at that! My God.
That's an amazing visual. Someone's got to clip that. Send it to Brian. We'll be good. If you haven't already, leave a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. Over 15,000 strong can't be wrong, right? Well, they can be, but we choose not to be. And of course, you can donate a super chat. Any amount gets your question or statement read on the air. Kim Grace kicks us off. Hi, friends. A very happy Kim this morning. I'm very happy that you're happy. We're feeling good. I'm a little tired. Jeremy's more tired than I am. He's a busy boy, but we all are. Yeah.
I'm glad you're well, Kim. Glad you're happy. Glad all the Cody fans, all you crybabies, are happy.
Listen, we all got to cry a little bit sometimes. The crying helps us feel better about ourselves. That's just what it is. That's just how you feel better about everything that's going on in the world.
Cry?
You cry a little bit. You don't cry a little bit sometimes just to make yourself feel better? Come on.
No, not really. Usually I just I don't know, play video games or something.
That's an acceptable alternative, I get. Big Eclipse here coming in Toronto. We got the solar eclipse today.
So I like how you just specify it's coming to Toronto, like it's a sold out show that only you get tickets for.
So actually, funny story is that there are various parts of the country where it has been deemed to be prime viewing for this solar eclipse. So two places, well, one of them includes Niagara Falls. So there was a story going around in the paper recently that there was a family or a couple that got a hotel room in Niagara Falls, and they got it a year ago in anticipation for this eclipse. And then the hotel canceled their reservation because they realized why they booked it and they upped the price. So the family's
that's
rightfully so.
Up.
Yes, it is. So anyway, the long and the short of it is my house is an Airbnb for the next 24 hours. And if anyone needs a place to watch the eclipse, 17th floor, unobstructed views, you can stare into the sun to your heart's content.
I think we're supposed to have a good viewing spot here as well. A lot of people are coming in to the town and everything. So good luck to all these people. I'll be not staring, but I'll be, checking it out. It's supposed to be fun, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Mike Strauss here. We had brunch this past week. He said people in my area right now are insane. More people in Buffalo than ever before, and nobody goes to Buffalo. This is not a place you can go.
Yes, I was wondering if Mike Shaw was okay. He willingly had lunch with you. You didn't kidnap him,
No. I gave him 3 options. He picked the option. We found the place. Breakfast was pretty good, so it was a good Thursday.
It's unfortunate.
I know, right? And before we launch into the wrestling stuff, I'll tell you now. It's my dad's birthday today. It's his 75th birthday. I want to wish my dad a very happy birthday. I hope he's well. I know he lurks into the stream sometimes, and he'll never
what
be in the chat. He'll never be in the chat, but he's told me before. I've lurked. I've seen your show, and I'm I'm so sorry because he's not a wrestling fan. But he's
Why would he do that?
How you do this?
Why would he do that?
Because
happy birthday! Happy birthday to you, Dad. Hope he's doing
5.
Hope he's doing well. Happy birthday to him. Sorry you watched this show for more than a second. That's unfortunate.
Right? That's how I feel. I'm just you did what? Are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Anyway.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Feels like everybody should have better things to do than watch this show.
That's true. Meanwhile, a lot of y'all are tuned in to watch us this morning because we got plenty to talk about. We're gonna go long today.
Legend.
I'm warning you now. Where do you want to start? Because there is a great episode of AEW Collision.
I mean,
I know
we did get some news out of that. Just dropping news at 12:30 on I guess technically Sunday morning. I
was half joking. Do we want to? I don't want to go. I don't know how deep I want to go into this today because we do have Wednesday.
Talk about it on Wednesday. Yeah.
We are going to get into it more on Wednesday, and I know that there are people here who are going to be interested in this whole. The Bucks are going to present all in footage from London and so on and so forth. I'm gonna give you my very quick 40,000 feet take, and I'm not gonna really give it much more until Wednesday when we can go more in depth about it. In my feeling, it's if
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
She did the intro
with the GOAT Brandy Rhodes on WWE television. in part of the entrance, this is why Cody won. The moment we saw the GOAT, Brandy Rhodes, I knew it was over. I knew it was over for Roman Reigns. I'm glad he had his tribal chief wise man, whatever his name is, Paul Heyman. I knew it was all over for that whole family, that whole bloodline, the moment Brandy showed up. Because you know what it indicated, Joel? Even though she didn't go down to the ring with him, she wasn't, ringside staying for the part of the match. It was a warning. It was a mind game to that whole family. They're like, oh, damn. Brandy's here. Brandy's not up in the suite.
No.
Oh, no. Oh, they knew they were screwed.
Yep. That was it.
For the bloodline.
That was it. No Diamond Dallas Page. You don't need that. No Arn Anderson with the Glock. No. All you need is Brandy. And if you bring a shot of Brandy, then Brandy will shoot you right back. And that's exactly what happened. And Cody Rhodes won the Undisputed WWE Championship. So let's just start right there. This is obviously the big story coming out of WrestleMania, other than the fact that the show actually ended before 11:30, which is nice.
Look, they had some very tight shows. I like that they're starting at 7. Appreciated that. Didn't go till midnight, either of them. So I'm all for this.
This was kind of the thing. I was thinking to myself, on Saturday night, they went long because they could, in terms of like, it's a Saturday night. You don't necessarily have work or school if you're outside of this particular sphere that we work in. But like most people, they have Sunday to do whatever. And then you come back Sunday. You've got Monday work for the most part, unless your name is Steven Jensen and you literally book it off as a national holiday. That is actually what he did, by the way. Yeah, he has day off. He's partying right now. He probably hasn't stopped partying since last night when Cody won the title. Either way, you get to the end of the presser. It's just like past 12:30 maybe, and that's it. You can go home. It's not 3 a.m. and you're like, I gotta be up in 3 hours to go to work. This was nice. This is the way it should be.
I totally agree with you. But look, NXT as well, I'll give them a shout. That show was like 2 hours and 40 minutes. They didn't do some epic main event. WWE's running the production stuff. I'm not going to sit here and fawn over Triple H like literally everyone else in WWE did this entire weekend. But the production changes are certainly been helpful to someone like me who doesn't want to watch a 4-hour wrestling show and then a 3-hour press conference. I know people get mad about all the video packages and there's a lot of downtime and stuff. I totally understand all of that. But as someone who covers this for a living, stays up very late on these weekends and certainly this week, I like that it's pretty condensed, all things considered. Like you could get through this show if you're watching on replay in like a solid 2 hours or so. Skip all the video packages and everything. You still watch the entrances. You like the pageantry, but you can get right through it. So ever since really the pandemic, when they went to like the Saturday shows and they started those shows at 7 as well, ever since then, WWE's done a great job and just in and out with these shows.
Yeah, man, it's an entertainment spectacle. Just let the entertainment has time limits. It's okay. I know we're celebrating pro wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you're going to call it this week. Like, come on, it's okay. It doesn't have to be 24 hours. It doesn't have to be the longest show ever every time. So I was a big fan of it not overstaying its welcome. I was a big fan of you mentioned going back and doing the replay. So I speed ran night 1 Jeremy Lambert's. I told you, but I didn't get to tell nobody else has really been told about this. Literally outside of my family, nobody knows about this. So I'll tell you right now. I speed ran night 1 about 90 minutes to 2 hours. I tried my best to watch as much as I could while trying to catch up to the end of the show so I could watch the presser live and do what I had to do. So regardless, I get to I get to Saturday afternoon. Okay, so let's go all the way back. My plan was to watch WrestleMania. My plan was to do a regular day. My wife and I and my kid, we were actually going to go get my kid. He just turned 2 last week. We're going to get him a balance bike. For those who don't know what a balance bike is, it's basically a bike without pedals so that you can kind of stand on it and maneuver around. Okay, and you can get your balance on it. So place near us was giving away some free bikes. So we went in the later afternoon on Saturday to go get free bikes. He got his bike, which was tremendous, but he went to try the bike. It was fitted and it's sized for him and everything. And because he'd never been on this bike before, fell over. Fell over, cut himself open. 2 stitches later, I'm watching WrestleMania at 10 o'clock. And so he's okay. That's the good news. But there was a trip to pediatric emerge. And that was WrestleMania night 1 for me. But we got a free bike. Made a charitable donation to the company that did it. And everyone won, including me, who got to speedrun WrestleMania night 1.
Kid just bladed.
Yeah, that was wild. It's weird seeing a kid, a 2-year-old bleed. It's a weird feeling.
Gigged himself.
He gigged himself good. He toppled over. And, before anyone comes in who wasn't wearing a helmet, well, again, he was trying this bike for the very first time. He didn't go far at all. He just toppled over and happened to hit something that tore him open. He's okay. That's the good news. He's fine. But it was a moment. It was definitely a moment for everyone. The hospital visit was for maintenance. I am too. He hard weighed himself. No blading. He hard weighed Jeremy. You got to get it right.
All right. In tribute to new undisputed WWE Universal Champion Cody Rhodes, the kid just decided to bleed. I respect it.
Yeah, listen, some people have to show you how committed they are to this business. And that's what my kid did. So watch night 1 a little bit later than planned. Honestly, the match of the night for me was the Gunther and Sami Zayn match. I thought that was a lot of fun. I thought that went as planned. And I'm glad that Gable basically came out and said, you owe me one. So it feels like if they do the Gable turn, it's going to come out of Sami giving Gable the shot and then Gable getting frustrated if he loses or if he wins by cheating. So there's some open spaces there. What do you think of the build? You talk about the good production value. There was a lot of good stuff. The one continuous camera shot stuff again with Sami going from the interview, going down the tunnel, running into KO. It was some really good stuff. What do you think overall of that part?
Of night 1 or just Sami and Gunther?
Let's do Sami Gunther and then we can kind of peel back night 1 a little bit too.
Okay. I really liked Sami and Gunther. I expected, they told the Rocky story. They referenced it, but they also, if you've seen Rocky, the story of this. The self-doubt, the gotta have a trainer. They did the training montages and everything. He gets his ass beat the entire time. His wife is there. Gunther is taunting the wife. And then he comes back and eventually wins it. He broke out the brain buster on him. That move always looks like it just sucks. But that was probably the first time he's done that move in WWE, which makes sense because he did it a lot during his indie run. But it makes sense that he hasn't done it in WWE. If you would have asked me, I probably would have been like, he's done it in WrestleMania previously. I don't know which one, but the Kevin Owens match, he definitely did it. Apparently he hasn't. So the fact that this was the first time he broke that out was pretty big, and it was a great match. The story they told with Sami, I know people might have been disappointed it wasn't Gable, but it was a great match, and I thought the story was right with Sami. I'm glad Sami, man, that dude's special. I think people do realize this. I really do. I think they started to realize it last year with the bloodline stuff. But I hope people continue to realize how good in so many different areas this guy is. I know Triple H put him over in the press conference as well. He is so good at drawing out emotion, so good at playing any character that you really need him to play. You need him to play a chicken shit heel, he can do it. You're going to play a comedy heel. I'll continue to contend that match against Johnny Knoxville is the greatest match of all time. I don't care what anybody says. It's all opinion based, right? That is some of the most fun I've ever had just watching a wrestling match. He's so good at playing the underdog, babyface, I don't know if he could play like a bully heel, but I wouldn't put it past him if he wants to bully Chad Gable. He played a bully heel a little bit with Kevin Owens and when they feuded with Shane McMahon.
Yeah, I was
and
going to say a
everything.
little bit. Yeah, they did do
Yeah,
that.
he's so good, so
He
good.
is. He is. And then I'm surprised you said last year was when people started to notice, because I actually think, and I'm not being facetious because I know, you feel this way. You just said so. The WrestleMania 38 match against Johnny Knoxville opened a lot more eyes to people who saw that Sammy is more than just a really good wrestler. He's always been a very good entertainer. You can go back to 2016. You want to talk about when Triple H believed in him. You don't give Shinsuke Nakamura his first match in on a major setting like NXT, which to many fans it is. I know people.
That's also one of the best matches.
Ever. That is one of the best matches, definitely in NXT. It's one of Nakamura's best matches in WWE. But the point I'm trying to make here is that there's always been an inherent trust. Think about the matches that Sammy has had in NXT. Again, this was when Triple H was really the guy there. There was always a belief in him, but there was never, or at least there was a trust, but there was never an opportunity to push him as hard as he has been for the last 3 years at WrestleMania. And then, of course, the Bloodline storyline leading into the Rumble and going to Elimination Chamber last year as well. There's always been something for Sammy, but there's always been something that's kept Sammy from being considered the guy. But he's always just been great. He's always been really good at this. And one thing I have to say is that you can tell that he was much more dialed in on Saturday night. The way he looked, the way he presented, the way just his physique was even tighter. That was, that was a thing, People made fun of Sammy. He's like, oh, he's doughy. He's not, he doesn't look like a wrestler. Well, what does a wrestler look like? It's not some big jacked up dude, but it's someone who can go. And that's Sammy proved at the Saturday show. So good for him, man. I do think that Gunther dropping the title to Sammy was the right choice. Said it multiple times here. I understand the people who thought that Gable should have been the guy, but I don't think it would have meant nearly as much, given everything you and I are talking about, than it would have been with Sammy winning. This worked out, and it looks good.
Sammy seemed to be always the guy for this spot. Everything last year. The tag title run with KO, unfortunately, wasn't as great as certainly the build and the moment at WrestleMania last year. But Sammy was still involved in, war games. He was still involved. He lost himself at the end of the year, lost some matches and everything. But he was still a focal point on television. Gable, I don't say he got over when it wasn't expected, but I don't think they expected that they were going to get Gable over to that degree with how they booked him. I'm sure they thought they'd get a little bit, but I don't think they expected him to capitalize that big on it. Credit to him that it happened. Now they have a guy ready to go for this spot against Sammy, and they don't have to really dig into anything elsewhere. They don't have to bring anybody else up. Like, Gable's already there. It just depends on where you're going to go with this story. But I think this moment was earmarked for Sammy. Triple H talked about October and how he had a good idea of what the Mania card was going to be in October. Maybe he was BSing. I don't know. Pro wrestling promoters.
Hold on. Are you trying to tell me that Triple H had a Philadelphia street fight already on the cards in October between the Pride, who are not listed as the Pride, but are Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, taking on the what's the name of the team?
Guys. Yeah.
Those guys.
They weren't a team in October, were they?
I don't think they were. They came back in January. AOP were back in the cards in January.
But they signed 5 years ago. So
yeah, that's right. So it was already in the card. It just the presentation hadn't been put out to the masses yet.
Triple H said that he had an idea of the card in October. Obviously, stuff changed. Ironically, I don't know if ironically is the right word for it, though. The biggest change was CM Punk came in, and that was the monkey wrench and everything. But then he got hurt, and so he wasn't part of the WrestleMania card. So they actually could kind of go forward with whatever they were planning to do with, I think McIntyre probably was kind of earmarked for this spot back then before Punk came into the picture. Anyway, my point, Triple H saying he had this card planned out kind of October. Stuff changed, obviously, but I do think Sammy was a little bit earmarked for this spot, and they followed through on it. It was great. That was as far as from a wrestling standpoint, that was the best match of the weekend for the in-ring part of everything. You know, it's all what you prefer and how you feel about stuff. But from an in-ring standpoint, it didn't get better than Gunther and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, that was the in the ring storytelling match presentation. And that's the subjectivity of wrestling in the presentation, is that it is a variety show. It is a Saturday Night Live smorgasbord. That it's Snoop Dogg coming out and saying that there's 145,420, when really it's not that at all. And when he said it, by the way, I was just like, wait a minute, that's not right. And then they show the screen and it's 298, and I was like,
Snoop,
he was going to do it regardless.
Well, Snoop, he knows the business. One, yes, 420, but you got to exaggerate the number. He gave a higher number than they did. Snoop is so good. Look, anyone who, I was on True Heel Heat last year, and they did like I'm probably gonna pop on that show today. They did like, oh, who's the MVP of WrestleMania, best moment of WrestleMania, best match of WrestleMania. All my answers was Snoop Dogg. This is now in the True Heel lore. I'm the Snoop guy out here. When he was there for commentary, I know it was going to be great. Snoop is the greatest sports entertainer of all time. The greatest sports undefeated at WrestleMania. He's been a host. He has wrestled. He's called a match on the fly. He's done commentary. He's been a performer. Tell me what Snoop Dogg has not done at WrestleMania. And you can't. He's done it all. And he's done it all to the highest degree. Snoop is the man.
And don't forget, WWE Hall of Famer.
Yes.
The man has done it all. You're right. You can't go, listen, the only thing he hasn't done is win a tag title. But like, do you really need to?
He's got that gold title though.
I know that thing is like, that's levels above, but I'm saying he hasn't won the tag titles. But like, you don't need to. What are you gonna do? Win him in a car crash ladder match where 4 titles are suspended above the ring and nobody really explained how they were gonna do it, but they did it anyway. Car crash. What do you think of that whole thing? You got Grayson. You got your favorites, Grayson Waller and A-Town down.
Well, half.
I wasn't shocked to see them capture the SmackDown tag titles, especially the way they were presented on Friday night before WrestleMania. Made them look like idiots, made them lose real bad. Was not shocked to see them walk out with those titles. And also, they're the biggest present. They're the largest presented stars from the SmackDown brand in that match. So it made sense. And then on the Raw side, Awesome Truth, of course, they got to win it, because you got to give R-Truth his flowers, and you got to give R-Truth his WrestleMania moment, as they were saying on commentary.
Bless R-Truth, who is shoot afraid of heights and had to climb that ladder and looked scared out of his mind as he was trying to unhook those belts. He got through it. Bless him. He got through it. But man, it was a little shaky there for a second. It was fine. It was this car crash stuff, as you would expect. JD McDonough took a hell of a bump going through those 2 tables. So they needed to split the tag team titles. They got the depth really on both brands to be able to split the titles. Judgment Day had been on SmackDown for months at this point. And now they got them split. So good. Now hopefully they do a little something with it.
Yes, recombine them in a few months.
No,
right?
Stop it.
Oh,
Stop.
okay. I don't know. Do you think we'll see new tag titles finally? New tag belts made?
Not really. No, maybe, but probably not really.
I don't know. I'm interested, because of course that's been the long-term conversation. A lot of people saying it. I know Sean says he's never been told outright that there were new tag belts being made, but it could be, there's a possibility. But for now, we finally have tag champions on both brands, and hopefully they start to see a little bit more work instead of being someone's lackeys every few weeks. I'm fine with that. What else happened on night one that was worth bringing up? So, I mean, opening, you had Becky versus Rhea. Becky was sick with strep. Not really the best thing if you're in a business like wrestling where everyone can get sick from something like strep.
Becky was strep at 102-degree fever. Like,
Which, by the way, if you're going to be in a cold ass climate like Philadelphia, wrestling with 102 fever is actually advantageous in a way, but she couldn't have felt great.
That was a good match. I really like the finish, the buckle riptide. That was pretty cool. And then the actual riptide to win it. I was a little surprised Rhea won. It seemed like Becky was gonna be the underdog who wasn't the underdog because she's Becky Lynch and she's the man. But I was a little surprised that Rhea retained. Good match though. They obviously see a whole lot in Rhea, as they should. But that was a good match. Good way to kick off the show. I know Becky.
Yeah, that's the time to do it. Love it. Yeah, give me the coughs. Give me the coughs. Give me all the coughs. Oh, he's having. Wow. All right, don't die on me. That was more than I expected.
Okay? I've been sick. Like I've not let on that I feel like I've been starting. I was coughing like all through the night. I slept awful because I was just like coughing through the night. So much like Becky Lynch, you just got to work through it, and you got to go out there and you got to perform.
Professional right here. I love it. And let's just let's wrap up night one tag match. Rock comes out. What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about?
Lil Wayne.
Oh, of course. You don't want to talk about the match that precedes it, but sure, let's talk about Lil Wayne. Comes out, raps a verse, and we're out.
I mean, he tried to do a Millie. He got like every other word. Live performances, I know we've talked about before. Live performances, they don't always sound.
WWE doesn't know how to do it. You know why they know how to do rappers is because they don't have live bands, and that's not a shot at rappers. It's just you got a DJ, you're spinning. It's a very easy setup in terms of an audio equipment. But like Motionless in White, 98% sure that was a pre-recorded track they were playing to, and the vocalist was live. But other than that, it felt like a Super Bowl special.
Lil Wayne partially rapped. Yeah, he don't write shit because he ain't got time anyway. But he partially rapped a Millie. And then we did have the match. A lot of criticisms of this match. I'm probably not as low on it as a lot of other people are. Here's my biggest issue with this. And it's not actually the match itself. It's that Jay is so clearly a star and above Jimmy and is presented as so. The reactions tell you Jimmy has been so just cast aside basically since SummerSlam. He's still just Roman's, right-hand man, even though he's nobody's bitch. Like it's been obvious. And that's why they went with Jay, by the way, because Jay got over. But Jay is like an actual star. And Jimmy still just feels like a lackey. And I think that's why the match didn't fully work, because the story they told didn't capture that enough. I'm talking about the story leading up to it. I'm even talking about like the story in the match. But they did not capture the fact that Jay actually went out and did things on his own and how that should have fueled things for Jimmy. Instead, they tried to present Jimmy as being on that level, and he hasn't been presented as being on that level. And so nobody bought it. And so no one really cared about the Jimmy stuff.
The match was, I've seen a lot of people say, the best part about the match was actually the promo package.
That was actually very good.
It was very well done, and I had to put over the WWE production team for that because it was very well done. The match itself didn't get into another gear. It felt like what they did on Sunday night, doing the spot through the table from the stage. That was kind of like what you wanted from the match that they had on Saturday. So I get it. I also don't love that, in terms of how we cover wrestling and how we are so enveloped in it, I said it on Wednesday show. I need Rikishi to stop talking about it. I understand it, that he's their father, but like he was just putting this undue pressure, talking about it there was a headline every single day about Rikishi wanting the Suns to do this or how he wanted to come back and be that. And it's just,
well, maybe they should have listened to Rikishi because
I mean, he would have worked himself into that. That's the problem, is that he would have worked himself into that opportunity. And I'm sure Rikishi would love to get the bag and blah, blah, blah. But like, I don't think it helps to have someone do that leading into the match where you wanted the match to stand on its own as brother versus brother. The build wasn't great to begin with because the two of them were just seeing each other a couple of times, pitching the fights and accepting it. And then other than that, the matches that they were in ended in disqualifications and no finishes. That kind of cooled it right down going into the match itself. So it was tough to bring that back, and they didn't because the stakes weren't there. The importance was gone. It just felt like they were doing it because Jimmy at one point said, I want to do this match. Sorry, Jay said it. I want to do this match and have a match against my brother. And they said, well, all right, we'll do it. They just didn't build it properly.
Neither of them, I mean, they're a great tag team. One of the best tag teams ever. Jay's had some good standout single matches. Jimmy really had my problem with this match wasn't necessarily the match itself, even though it wasn't for me. My problem was the build-up to this match kind of told you. They obviously had a chance to rewrite it, do a great match. Like they could do it, but the build-up just was not there for it. And then they kind of told you Jimmy's not that guy, and then he proved it.
And this is funny because you and I sat here and I was kind of giving my thoughts on how this match could go. And that was the idea that Naomi loses whatever match she was in and then comes out and helps Jimmy win his match. And then those two get paired up and they work together. When I saw the card rundown and saw that first of all, that Jade was in a 6-woman match with Naomi included, and I was like, all right, they're not going to have Jade lose this match regardless. Yeah. And then I saw that they were going on right after Jimmy and Jay. It's like, all right, whatever idea I had, clearly not part of this. This is not going to work out that way. However, I will say for Naomi's argument, this has been those three women watching Bianca and Jade and Naomi work together on and off screen has been really good and really fun. The press conference. The press conference was an all-timer. Watch those three just sitting at the dais, just joking and having the time of their lives. That was worth it to me.
I don't know if they had plans to keep these three together. I know they don't have like a trios division or anything, but I think at this point you got to keep these three together. It doesn't have to be every match, every segment or anything, but like you got to keep them kind of just grouped. They're the big three, and I feel like you gotta keep that rolling. It was the press conference was very genuine. The chemistry was very genuine up there. They were just laughing, joking, having a good time, and it felt like they'd been friends and coworkers for decades. And obviously, at least on screen, they've been paired up for a couple of weeks. And even off screen, I mean, Jade only joined WWE in September. It's not like she was traveling to every show. I don't know how often she really did interact with Naomi and Bianca, but it looked like they'd just been friends and just for a very long time. So I'd keep them together. And you've kind of already beaten the other group you have with them, but I'd still keep them just associated and then go from there.
Yeah, they should all be friendly. They should all continue to support each other, whether they're tagging or if they're in singles competition. They should have each other's backs. One thing that Jade said in that presser was that when she came to WWE, she and Bianca spoke because they didn't want to get into a situation where the two were pitted against each other as two dominant black women in the sport. They wanted to lift each other up. That was the whole thing, was that they saw the opportunity for representation more than they saw the opportunity for the quote unquote token black woman on the roster. And so the three of them, you had Naomi who comes in at Royal Rumble, there's suddenly a feeling that like these three working together is a really good idea, especially when you see the interaction. Let them be friends. Let them get along. It's good, period, end of sentence.
I think Bianca, she's often praised by a lot of her peers. And Rhea was on Logan Paul's show and praised Bianca. I know Bailey has a lot of praise for Bianca. Becky has a lot of praise for Bianca. It's not only what she does on screen, where she's very good, but all the stuff she does off screen, and not just the media stuff, which she does a lot of. She does a ton of media. But something like calling Jade when she first signed and being like, hey, let's go ahead and not give them anything to talk about this. Let's just kind of get on the same page and just talk about what this means and talk about what we can do. If you're Jade, one, that's got to feel very welcoming and probably put some things at ease. If you're management, you're like, oh, well, this is great. They're going to be great friends. I'm sure there's a competitor in all of them. They all want to be in that top spot, but there's not going to be any bickering, backstabbing, stuff like that. Like, we can utilize both of them. That's a leadership quality that, you know, a lot of her peers talk about. And when you hear a story like that, you continue to just see how much of a leader and how much Bianca really does behind the scenes when it comes to just uplifting the rest of the roster.
Found it very interesting. Last night, Triple H, Paul Levesque, during the presser said, you know, for Bailey's match, all the women's roster was there to cheer her on. And that's going to be seemingly an ongoing thing. He says it's happening a lot more with him in charge. And if the morale is moving to that position, then good. I hope that happens. I hope that they push each other up while remaining committed to being competitive. There should be. Listen, not everyone's going to get along. KO this week was asked about CM Punk, and he's like, "We're two different people. We can coexist, but we're not going to work together. Like, we can work together, but we're not going to be friends. We see each other across the room. We nod, and that's it. And that's fine. If you've ever worked in an office environment, you don't love everyone there. The trick is, you don't talk shit about them to everyone you know, and then it gets back and it becomes a whole hostile issue. You can work with people, and that's all it is. But I like that, like you said, Bianca took the initiative, spoke to Jade when she came in and said, there's nothing here. We're good. Let's build each other up and let's work together in a business that doesn't always offer that opportunity. That's good stuff.
Triple H said a lot of things this week.
He talked a lot.
He wasn't asked a lot, but he certainly talked a lot.
I think somebody told him that's the way to do it. And if that's how PR wants to do it, then unfortunately that's the way it's going to be for now.
Well, he wasn't asked anything like substantial.
Jeremy Lambert, you're a legend, by the way. Got to ask, what's it like to be you? Sitting there with my beautiful wife for WrestleMania. Everything's amazing. You're fantastic. The best there ever is. Best there was. Best ever will be. You're so cool. I wish I could be you. Had a wonderful time at WrestleMania. Did I tell you I brought my beautiful wife? She's amazing. Your amazing wife came out, by the way. She was great. So the question is what's it like to be Jeremy Lambert at this moment? Are you like amazing? Do you feel amazing? You look amazing.
How about my wife? Damn, she looks good. Can't wait to end this show. And right.
God bless, by the way. That was a moment. If you ever wanted to have a human moment, that was it. I wish that people were asking. I do wish that people were asking about what's going on with the lawsuit and the allegations and stuff. Brandon Thurston WrestleNomics did post this morning that Vince did sell stock back to Endeavor. So
yeah,
now,
that was an SEC filing. Yeah,
it's an SEC filing. So there was Vince is down to sub 5% ownership. So there is that. So
Thurston did ask Triple H about Brock Lesnar as well, which was a good question. And we did learn that apparently Brock is still with WWE. He's just at home. What I was going back to when it comes to leadership and locker room issues and stuff. One of the things that Triple H said, this is actually in the Mega Morant sit down that aired on the kickoff night 2, talking about CM Punk. And Triple H said, you know, I told everybody before the War Games match, hey, this is going to happen. Didn't really have time to process it. and they had to go out there and wrestle, and then, hey, here he comes. You react kind of how you react, whether work or shoot. But what he said was like, then I sat down with a lot of these guys and I let them air everything out. We had conversations about it. And that was probably a good thing to do, by the way. But I think it just goes to show, again, just some leadership qualities that you would want. It wasn't, Triple H didn't say, like, you know what? CM Punk is good for business. He's coming in. Don't really care what any of y'all have to say. You just got to deal with it. And instead, it was, and this is, I'm not trying to praise the guy for doing kind of basic leadership things, but it was, hey, you know what? You have an issue with this? Okay, let's talk about it. What are your thoughts and feelings on this? I'm sure he talked to Seth and Drew and Kevin and Cody and all these guys. It's possible he floated the idea to them the week of, because that's when the conversation started rolling. But you want to get everybody on the same page. And another thing that he said that was one of my biggest takeaways from the press conference is like the collaboration of ideas. And he talked about listening to everyone. We've obviously seen a lot of on-screen changes, most of them for the better. But it sounds like people can just, there's no waiting outside the door for, an hour to maybe make sure he's eating steak at the time so you could get your idea through. Seems like you just go and give an idea, see what happens. And that's a disadvantage WWE used to have. And now it's something they can use to their advantage. And we're seeing it on screen.
I want to, Hassan, I'm not attacking you. I don't want you to think this is an attack. So wrestling journalists are fans. There are no actual journalists, unfortunately. I'm going to push back. There are absolutely wrestling journalists, or at least reporters in that room, that are wanting to ask those questions that a lot of people want asked. WrestleMania is a really tough time. Most of these PLEs in that room, it's a hard ass time to do it, because you are navigating waters of not only kayfabe, but also what they are trying to talk about. They are sticking to their talking points. That doesn't mean we don't ask. It just means that you have to word your question appropriately for the situation. You look at a guy like Brandon Thurston, he worded it in a way that functioned with what was going on in the room. I know you're going to push. I know you're going to say something, but I'm going to add one more thing. A lot of people in those rooms, they're also there based on the assignments that they've been given. And some of them are going to ask, hey, how does it feel to be you? And that's just what you're going to do, because that's their assignment. Other people are going to ask about the new Netflix deal, or, being the tribal chief. That's their assignment, because the content is what they're after. But there are people in that room that are going to ask those questions. And whether they ask them directly or whether they ask them in a separate space, those people exist. That work is getting done. Go ahead.
No offense to Hassan. He's active in our chat. We appreciate it. It's kind of a dumb comment, because we were here 3 months ago praising the likes of John Alba, Brandon Thurston, and Cameron Hawkins for the questions they asked at the Royal Rumble press conference. We cannot help who gets called on at these press conferences. It is what it is. They're going to call on who they're going to call on, and there's certain people who are not going to ask the questions we wish were going to be asked. That's not the fault of John Alba, Brandon Thurston, Cameron Hawkins, that they were not called on for this particular press conference. So I think it's a dumb comment. Sorry, Hassan.
There's also, we talked about it on Friday. Mania this year, the press, credentialed press, seemed much larger than in years past.
Oh, there were huge.
Tons of people. A lot of people didn't even get interviews who would typically have interviews. We would have 7-8 in the can, all ready to go. And I can tell you, pulling back the curtain, from what I've worked on so far, I have one, and that's already aired. And that was the Finn Balor, Damian Priest. There are more.
Yeah, I think there's only like 4 compared to usual. And you're right, it's usually double that. I mean, you posted the media picture on Friday. They had a lot of people there, and there was a lot of lines for people, and you basically had to pick and choose who you wanted to go to. Usually it's, hey, here's 6 people and everyone gets the same 6 people. I do actually like that, like they had a large variety, and so it allowed for more different interviews from different outlets and everything, instead of, hey, here's again the 6 people, every outlet that's there is going to interview him. So it's going to allow for more variety, which is good. So yeah, but there's a lot of media there that typically Triple H, he talks about this as well. Again, he talks a lot. He talks about doing more media. Cody was on the Today Show just like an hour ago talking about his title win. You know, they obviously got they're in with McAfee. A lot of people, basically the entire Friday show of McAfee show was WWE interviews. Today, I think it's going to be very similar. I know Cena's going to be on the show today. Roman and Rock were on the Tonight Show. There's so much media out there in different outlets. There's mainstream media, there's influencer media. Friggin' Logan Paul is, I don't know what an iShow speed is. No idea. I thought they were saying ISO speed the entire time, but apparently it's iShow speed. I don't know who these people are, but clearly they have a fan base who does know or would know who he was. And even if they didn't have a fan base, this guy has like a million followers or subscribers on YouTube. And so if he's posting about this stuff, that's new eyes to WWE. So like I there's so much media, and Triple H said like they're going to be doing even more. I talk about this a lot because a big part of my job is covering all of this media and covering different appearances and things like that. One of the things that they do well is the mainstream media and doing those appearances, but I don't think they'd actually done that enough. And now it sounds like they're going to do even more, which again sucks for me, personal attack at me. But I think this is a big thing that they've just not taken advantage of throughout the years. I don't know why. Maybe it was a Vince call that they just didn't want to do. He didn't want them on these shows because Vince probably has a grudge against the media and everything. Vince didn't do press conferences. He didn't do media calls and things like that. It is what it is with his relationship with the media. Triple H, maybe not doesn't always say the right things when asked certain questions, but I do think he and Nick Khan, I think Triple H saw this in the past because he would do the NXT media calls and everything. He sees the value in media. He sees the value in working with outlets and allowing talent to go to all of these places. And so the fact that they're going to continue to take advantage of that is, again, sucks for me, but it's a thing that it's an advantage. These things used to be disadvantages for the company, and now they are turning an advantage they've always had and actually utilizing them.
iShow Speed was born 6 months before I started university.
Yeah, he's like 19. I learned that when like Googling him. Took a hell of a bump on that kick, by the way.
Cat.
Randy just destroyed that. He gave him it was like a movie, you see, and like you do the kick and the guy just goes flying off like that. Like that's what that was.
He did the 300. This is Sparta.
Is barking at Randy as well.
I think Randy was just annoyed at all the F-bombs that guy dropped in 20 seconds.
Well, look, iShow Speed probably just started watching when The Rock returned. So he's like, okay, this is what you do. You just curse. So I don't blame him.
It's true.
Somebody's got to smarten him up.
Let's get back into it. We got a couple super chats. Let's just get into that. Ricardo sends one saying, "Good day, guys. For once, I'm awake in time to watch. Aren't you on the East Coast?"
Well, so let the men sleep. Don't judge them.
Listen, I'd love to get more sleep. So good on you, Ricardo. Thank you for joining us this morning. Love it. Chi-Town Spurs says, now that the story, quote unquote, is over, the true story begins. Jack Perry's rise to glory. All hail the savior of pro wrestling. As the torture leader, Jack Perry. He's coming, baby. It's going to be Chicago, Windy City Riot. He's going to address his people.
And we'll get into that.
We'll get into that on Wednesday and later on. Maybe if the show goes long. How about that?
I'm sure.
hour 6, we'll get into it. Let's do JJ. He's here. Hi, JJ. It's good to see you. JJ only shows up for 2 things. One, a TNA talent or champion is coming to join us on the show because he was here for our very first show. Or it's post WrestleMania, which also happened when Deonna Purrazzo joined the show a year ago. Around this time.
We've been doing this show for almost a year. That's insane. That's
Isn't that
unfortunate.
wild? Feels like we need to get hot tubs and start doing the show from there.
Stop it. These hot tubs.
JJ says, hello to my favorite big star. That you meant to put an S there, right? Big stars.
No,
Jeremy
it says
and
Joel. So no.
I don't know what you're talking about. He thinks we're both big stars. Says, hope you're doing very well. I'm very well. Thank you very much. Hope you are too. Mania was tremendous. Cody finishing his story was awesome. Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, cannot wait. Let's talk about that. Do you want to talk tag?
No.
You still want to talk about night 1?
Yeah, dude, we gotta talk about The Rock.
What did The Rock really? What did The Rock do really?
Bro, he came back for the most legendary run of all time. I don't mean that facetiously.
No, I get it. And also, by the way, let's get into everything because hell of a weekend for Dwayne.
Not only the weekend, but like the entire run. Think about this. He came back. He big dicked Cody. You know, the fans turned it back, but let's
hold on. I thought Charlotte does that.
No, I mean she throws her big dick on the table.
Yeah,
Cody. I mean, yeah,
did it for
Rock.
her
Bless, by the way. Charlotte was like, "Hold on, we got to get Andrade on this thing." Poor Dragon Lee. I hope he's okay. Couldn't even come out during the match.
He'll have a big match against Carlito in Lyon at Backlash.
He big dicked Cody out of the title picture, but then I love how he also takes credit for like, the fans, we got to pivot here. You know what? The fans, we can't let them down. Sorry, guys. We can't let the fans down. You know what? Instead, I'll be a heel. I'll be Rock 10.0. I'll be the greatest heel ever. And he was. There was not a moment on television, maybe when Cody slapped him, but then he smiled and laughed that off. There wasn't a moment on television where Dwayne looked beneath anybody. He cut off Rollins, completely buried him the entire time. He was overshadowing Roman for much of everything. He built the feud with Cody better than the Roman and Cody feud was built in the 3 weeks. He beat down Cody every single time. He got over every single week. And then on Friday, he gets his own friggin' title with Ali. I don't know if this thing was created weeks ago. I don't feel like it was just put together, in the last, day or two before the Hall of Fame. He gets his own title as part of Ali's speech. He takes the time to induct his grandmother by taking shots at Cody. He didn't even do an induction speech. It's like, yeah, my grandmom, that was good. She did a lot of cool things. Anyway, Cody Rhodes, you suck. I'm going to beat the shit out of you in front of your wife and your mom and your kid. And it's not business, it's personal. And then he has the top tier entrance. That man, until the last, he worked his ass off in the final 15 minutes of that match. Credit to him. The first half hour of that match, 3 bumps, 3 day 1 back bumps in that match. That's all he did. He's so good. Just a masterclass of professional wrestling. And credit to him, by the way, for coming. And then the press conference, you know what? He was very genuine in the press conference. He didn't stay in final boss character. He gave the best answers of the entire press conference. Honestly, just a complete masterclass from the moment he returned to being in the ring, being back, doing the match, doing the press conference. There's a reason why he overshadowed everyone. There's a reason why he's at where he's at. You saw it because he works the greatest workers in sports and entertainment.
When he came out, at that press conference. I was like, oh God, here we go. And then he started talking, and I was tired. It had been a long day. And I said, I think I'm going to tap out on this. And then Rock kept talking. And then people kept asking him questions that some of them were fine, some whatever, but he would then elaborate and he would give more detail. And I was like, oh, damn it. He's actually speaking. He's not just talking. His words are eloquent. He's captivating. I had to sit and watch him. The 3 bumps thing I saw, I know you're going to bring that up. That's what you do, though.
Yeah.
The anticipation was absolutely to see how is The Rock going to fare? How's he going to be? And then the moment he takes those 3 bumps, it's like, all right, let's go. Let's go. Let's do the walk and brawl. Let's do the whole thing. This, by the way, production, you want to talk about hilarious production moments? One point, both sets of guys, you got Cody and Roman going up the stage and doing their thing. And then you got Seth and The Rock in the crowd. They do a camera cut, and someone's got to find it because it's perfect. It's literally Cody and Roman are on top of the stage, and one of them kicks one in the dick. And right as they kick him in the dick, they cut right back to Cody or to Seth and The Rock. And it's like just the immediacy of the cut. I had to go back and be like, wait a minute, what happened? There was some stuff in that match, just production wise, that made me cackle. I felt bad for people who were live in the arena because you didn't get to see everything. Neither did we until they finally did split screen. But I thought it was just a really well paced match. It was silly as hell, but it was everything it was supposed to be. And it was everything you and I talked about it being. And Cody being pinned was the move. We knew that was going to happen. We talked about that. The Rock pinning Cody made perfect sense. You want to build that animosity while also building that adversity. It just worked, knowing that night 2 was going to be that tension release. It was good stuff.
I don't know what Rock's filming schedule is. I got my fingers crossed and maybe a little bit of hope that SummerSlam we get Cody and Rock. I feel like Rock's going to do another match. You know, he was a little coy in the press conference of like, you know, we'll see about another match, but like, you can't pin Cody and then not deliver on an actual rematch because the claim is there for Rock, obviously. Not only is the claim there because he pinned Cody, but if you're Cody, you want to fight this man. You not only want to fight this man, again, he pinned you. He beat the shit out of you for weeks on television, and you didn't really get him back. You lost to him at night 1. You beat his cousin. Yes, you ended that reign. Obviously, great moment, but you didn't beat the final boss. And I think all things, you know, being aligning schedule wise and just timing and everything, I think that's the plan. I would be very surprised if that wasn't at least the plan. Maybe you don't know how these things are going to work. There's a lot of scheduling. There's a lot of protection, especially with someone like The Rock, who's now got to film Smashing Machine, and then he's doing live action Moana, and then he's doing Moana 2. Like, his schedule's picking up here. But I don't think they did all of this with the intention of Rock's never going to be seen again. Although that would be another big Dick Dwayne move of just, you know, JJ's mentioned Jarrett and Effie. This is levels above. I get it's a very similar sentiment. I get it. But like Jeff Jarrett did that hilarious, did it in GCW, you know, GCW where Sabu can just not take an elevator and get one over on the company. Rock doing this to WWE, doing this to their champion
while you're on the board.
Yeah. Just scenes.
That would be amazing. I don't think it will happen, but it feels like he'll be involved in SummerSlam. I think part of it's really going to come down to how tickets are going, because if tickets are suddenly all out the window and they haven't brought The Rock around, then they might be like, all right, don't need to do this right now. If it could be that they do Cody versus Logan Paul. I know, don't get on me yet, but Logan Paul's local, quote unquote. I know they bill him from Puerto Rico now, but they also say via Cleveland. So there is a possibility that they do that match. Would people love it? I don't know. And I see the look on your face, and I agree. I would rather they split those two men, because Cody is very clearly like the 1A, and then going into SummerSlam, Logan Paul's going to be a high focus. I think that might even be where he drops the US Championship and says goodbye for a little bit, or yeah, because he's on SmackDown. They wouldn't necessarily put him on Raw the next night. Regardless, I would rather they do two marquee matches, one with Cody, one with Logan Paul. And if it's The Rock and Cody, sure, why not? And maybe that's where Roman comes back afterwards or the night after. I think we'll see Roman tonight. I think Roman will say a few words, and then that'll be that.
Really? I don't know what we're getting tonight. I think Roman. We can get into tonight too.
One thing you can get now is that Liv Morgan was on the bump, and she said that the Revenge Tour is going to be in full force tonight. So she says she'll be on Raw.
Here's a scoop for everybody. They were supposed to do Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan last week on Raw, and they didn't. There you go, everybody.
There you go. Get the scoops. Go to FightfulSelect.com. It's not even there. We're just giving you the scoops. But also subscribe to Fightful Select, because we do have a channel here that we talk about in the weeds in that channel and stuff. By the way, 30 minutes time, we're scheduled to be joined by TNA X Division champion Mustafa Ali. You haven't gotten an email or anything, right?
I've not gotten anything. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, they have what they need, so hopefully we'll be seeing them soon. Looking forward to a potential conversation with Mustafa Ali. Why do we say potential? Because Bruce Hart has let us down once before. He did make it up the next time, though.
He did.
Anyway, night 2. It's Bloodline Rules. It's Cody. It's Roman Reigns.
Roman should have won. This was nonsense.
1,316 days, and everyone's like, "Oh hell yeah!" And I'm just like, "No, maybe hell no." JJ sent a super chat saying, "When I heard the Shield's music, I lost myself, trying hard not to yell at 4 a.m. Roman and Seth got the band together. Much lover to you. Much lover to you too." I don't think we're going to see Roman and Seth working together.
Oh, absolutely not. That was, I'm sure everybody saw the cinema, the storytelling and everything. No, Roman hates that man. He's hated that man for a decade now, ever since Seth split up the Shield. And that's why he hit Seth with the chair when he could have hit Cody. That's why the moment Seth came out, he immediately attacked him. Yeah, he was saving his cousin, but he immediately attacked Seth. Seth has been in Roman's head. He knows he's in Roman's head. That's why at the Rumble, when Seth came out in the Shield gear, that's one of the rare instances Roman did not win. He lost that match by DQ because he could not help himself but to beat this man with a chair. It's great, great storytelling. It's great callbacks. And at some point, we will get a proper Roman Seth match. Somebody will win, somebody will lose, hopefully. But, I know what Roman's doing now that he's no longer the tribal chief. He's probably going to go insane, but he's just going to be bothered by Seth Rollins now. He's going to continue to be bothered by Seth.
He also created his own downfall. That was the whole point of, everyone was like, "Oh, Seth looked like he looked like a big old loser." Well, no, the whole point was that, and again, this has been pointed out on platforms all over the socials of medias, saying, Seth came out when this whole thing with Cody started and said, "I will be your shield." And that's exactly what he did on night 2 and even night 1. But the big point was that came out in the Shield gear, literally hitting you over the head with that idea, and then literally got hit in the back with a chair by Roman Reigns, who was too busy focusing on his chaos demon of an enemy known as Seth Rollins, knocked him down, took him out, and that led to Roman Reigns' downfall because he was so distracted on his old enemy that he lost his title because of it. Seth took the bullet. Seth was the hero, and they even show you after the show, Cody and Seth shaking hands, and Cody says to Seth, "I owe you one." You can very clearly hear him saying, "I owe you one." They're going to meet again for that Undisputed Championship. It's inevitable, and it's going to be great. But for now,
Poor Seth is gonna lose again.
poor Seth is going to lose his 4th in a row to Cody Rhodes. That's just the way it's going to be. That's fine. Regardless, again, the match, listen, was it overbooked? Of course it was. Was it supposed to be? Yes, absolutely it was. The whole point was that you were taking this match and you were making it so undeniably story driven. The one downfall of that being the first 20 minutes don't mean a damn thing. I did like the early beats of Cody introducing the table.
Yes.
He's like, it's bloodline rules. He can do whatever he wants. And then Roman being like, no tables. No, we'll do this on my time. That stuff was good. That kept me invested in the match. But otherwise, it was just kind of like, all right, let's get to the shenanigans. Let's get to the moment. And it worked out. I liked it personally. It
was great outside of, I don't know what Steve Austin was doing, but he should have been there, not The Undertaker. Although it made sense for The Undertaker. Undertaker's been feuding with that family his entire career. So I get it. But man. And Undertaker is more associated with WrestleMania than Steve Austin. Like, I get all the reasons why it was Undertaker. I get it. I just don't care about The Undertaker. And I love Steve Austin.
It's okay. So, The Undertaker didn't care about Undertaker that night either. He came out as Mark.
Yeah.
He got a skull cap on and everything. Oh, don't talk about his hairline. Anyway, Undertaker came out and he came in and out, took out The Rock. It was whatever. It was what it was.
So Will saying, and I saw Phil say this as well, that, it was a Brock's spot. I don't feel that's the case because Brock was, the lawsuit was before Rumble, and then he wasn't part of Rumble. He was gone. I mean, obviously they had the idea to do Cody and Roman way back when, but this was before Rock stepped in, and then they went with Rock and then pivoted back to Cody. And I don't know if they had the Avengers idea for the original Cody and Roman match. I don't feel this was a Brock spot at all. I think it was either always Undertaker or it was Austin, and Austin, for whatever reason, couldn't do it. I really don't think that this was ever meant to be a Brock spot. I think if anything, Brock was just going to be on this show. Like, he was going to wrestle on this show if he was going to be part of this show before everything.
Yeah, Louis in the chat saying the Austin glass break would have elevated this to greatest moment. It would have been huge. And I think that's kind of what it, and this is the funny thing. It's like, you can do the Taker gong, which also gets people, but like the glass shattering is I think to some it's just that much of a level above, but like the two are pretty close when you're in a WrestleMania setting for the reasons you kind of mentioned. But yes, the Brock's, I don't think it was ever a Brock thing. Jason in the chat is saying, wasn't it rumored that it was going to be Brock versus Gunther? And yes, that was the rumor for the longest time. That could have been the match had circumstances been different and Brock wasn't named in the lawsuit. Then yes, it probably would have been that. But it's not what it is. Brock wasn't going to be the main event. I think everyone would have preferred Austin anyway, but we got Taker. There was a story there. At least they made sense of it in that Rock and Taker have had history. Obviously, Rock and Austin is a much bigger thing, but you can't really do much about that. If Austin's unavailable or if something went, that he couldn't make it, you pivot. And that was a pivot that worked given the overbooked nature of this entire match.
Rock and Austin is obviously more associated with Mania. And so that's, they that was the main event at WrestleMania 15. So in Philadelphia.
Yep.
That's why it made a lot of sense for it to be Austin. But there is plenty of history with Undertaker, not only with Rock, but, Yoko. He teamed with Roman in one of his last matches. Are you the new coach of the team since John Calipari?
I hope you are, Jeremy.
Really? You think I should coach the team?
I do. Because you didn't finish one story this week. You finished 300.
I already made that joke. We started that like at the beginning of the show.
I don't watch your show.
I'm very well aware.
Listen, Joel, I don't watch. Fair. If it's before 11 a.m., it's like Raw and Warzone. It's a different show after 11 because after 11 is when I show up.
Yeah, but the ratings are usually pretty good to start.
Well, anyway, Jeremy, you did very, very good. Per usual. Per
Thanks.
usual.
Thank you. You
The
did very good as
absolute-
well, Sean, per usual.
Thank you. The absolute best to ever do what you do is Jeremy Lambert, and I mean that sincerely. He fucking kills it all the time. There has never been anybody better at this than him, and I can tell you, man, I know sometimes you don't feel satisfied by that, and it can be a drain, but you're really the best person that has ever done this. And Joel, as always, on these trips, a lot of people don't know how much Joel helps me when I do these interviews, because a lot of the stuff I get is evergreen. But even if I were to get to the hotel, edit these interviews, uploading them is a completely different animal because you never know what kind of Wi-Fi you got, which leads me to believe Denise Salcedo is a psychopath, people. She's a psycho.
No, you know how she does it. She already told you about it.
I know she's got a Wi-Fi hotspot, but she
Yeah.
was editing stuff while we were there.
Oh yeah, no, she's crazy.
But I mean, really, she's great as well. Corey Brennan did an incredible job this weekend. I've mentioned some of the family stuff I've had going on and all that, and he's taken an awful lot of pressure off of me doing a lot of the exclusives. And I know there were some people that were like, oh, why are you whining about WrestleOps and Wrestling World CC? Well, because I think it's kind of shitty when a guy with less than 2,000 followers doesn't get his flowers and his credit from accounts that have 150, 220,000 and can't properly attribute or credit, but are all too happy to get the likes, engagement, retweets, and all that, the clout from the work that he did or from anybody else. So yes, I am very passionate about that. I'm very passionate about the people who do the work, who do the legwork, who put in the time and put their reputation and credibility on the line to do that. Because guess what? If that story wasn't wrong, I bet you those same Twitter accounts would throw up their hands and be like, well, it wasn't us that did it. Wasn't us that said it, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm very proud of the team that we have put together here. And damn it, we're getting even bigger because Andrew Zarian and Rich are joining us tomorrow. So I'm just really, really excited about it. And yeah, man, it was
I'm taking tomorrow off.
And I mean, you should. And listen, somebody's saying Sean, bring WrestleOps. I have reached out to that person numerous times and corrected things and said, hey, you probably shouldn't run this person's stuff. They are not reliable, and made efforts to help and said, hey, why is it that you don't retweet original creators ever? And I mean ever, because at least on Fightful, within the website, we're linking, giving credit, all that. I retweet original creators all the time. And I was just told that doesn't grow my account type of thing. And they seem nice enough at times, but how nice is somebody when they don't own up to some of the things they do? I can tell you somebody who did. WrestleMania did yesterday when I reached out to them. They absolutely did that. The Dark Puroresso Flosion account, which is not monetized, by the way. So I know they're doing it for love of the game. They did that as well. Wrestling News Co. Did it. A guy from Wrestling Observer, Ian, hit me up and was like, hey, just so you know, I want to do things the right way. There are people that want to do things the right way. And I know a lot of people don't give a shit or need to give a shit because they're like, hey, free news. He's very neutral on opinions. Good. That's his business model. But my business model is making sure that my team gets their fucking credit. So there you go. That's the end of that rant. Anyway, I am very excited to try to put together a Steven Jensen WWE Demon Diva like debate. That's what I want to do. I want to see those two duke it out really, really badly right now.
Steven Jensen took off work today and Thursday so he could today celebrate. I assume he's having libations and whatever else Steven Jensen does.
I don't think he has slept.
Yeah,
really is.
And then Thursday he took off so we could do a longer show because he was willing to dye his hair and get a neck tattoo last year.
That's fantastic.
I don't know what he has planned for this year. He legitimately might show up on stream and I'm not going to recognize him because he has a tattoo and blonde hair. It really
That's what I
might.
like to hear.
He's committed. He's absolutely committed to it.
And it's just Steven Jensen in a Jeep.
It
just
probably
driving
is,
slowly.
honestly.
It's him, QT Marshall, and DDP hanging out. Is what that is.
That's a hell of a pilot for a show.
Yeah.
I kind of need it in my life.
I'm getting a call from somebody. It was great to see you guys. Great work this week, fellas.
Thank
Is
you,
it Brian
Sean.
Danielson. Sean, look, I got the shirt.
Oh, actually, yeah. Hold on 1 second. It's about an upcoming interview.
Oh no.
I hope it's about our interview. Oh man. Does he know that Ali joins us in 15 minutes?
So here's a scoop. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on air. It's not really a scoop. It's not a real scoop. I got the email for Ali Friday. I believe it was Friday. I got the email for him. It's like, hey, Mustafa Ali on the show Friday, 11:40. And I saw it. I saw the message, the notification in the corner on my computer. I was working on something. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'll respond to that here in a second once I finish up this work. 5 minutes later, I hadn't even replied to the email. 5 minutes later, Sean texts me, hey, you guys got Ali on the show Friday at 11:40. I'm like, I've not even confirmed this. How do you know this 5 minutes after this email was sent to me? So I feel like we're getting ribbed on something. Is it
No.
Mansoor? Is
No, I don't.
Mansoor gonna show up? Like,
I think after our last conversations, I think this is a we still like you conversation more than anything. I don't think they're gonna rib us because two wrongs don't make a right, Jeremy.
I really feel something has got to be like afoot on this. I don't feel great about. Okay, here's.
He's back. All right.
I assume he didn't hear a word I just said.
No, of course he had a telephone call.
Yes.
I did have a telephone call as my cat leaves the room. Yeah, it was a call regarding our upcoming interview with Mustafa Ali.
Christ.
So
is it still happening?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Are you moderating this thing?
I'm joining it. Yes, I'm not going to pass up an opportunity to interview Mustafa Ali. Absolutely not.
I just told this story of how
Go ahead.
I hadn't even confirmed this interview, and you had messaged me of like, you guys doing this interview? Like, yeah. What is happening?
I was not going to do an interview on my own at 11:30 a.m. after WrestleMania. We were offered this for the morning show, and I said LFG.
So are you big dick Dwayne-ing us here? You're just coming in. All right, this is now I'm part of this. I'm part of this show. I mean, you are part of this show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I mean, I can't really say anything.
I mean, they were sent the link, right?
Allegedly.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Good, because they just told me they were.
Okay.
Let's crank.
What is happening?
Just, landing you the biggest interview that you've ever gotten on In the Weeds ever. No big deal.
I mean, come on. We had Deanna on the first episode ever.
She does numbers, man.
She does. She's wonderful. Not taken away from Ali, but like, come on. Our first interview was with Deanna Purrazzo, and she had just recapped the Impact.
Day after she won
the
Knockouts title.
Cool.
So you're just going to hang out here.
I'm concerned that like Mansoor is about to show up. Which would be great.
Here's a funny story.
Love Manny.
Here's a funny story about Mustafa Ali. So I was with my friend Samira, who is outstanding ring announcer on the independent circuit, does Black Label Pro. The reason I worked last week's Black Label Pro show is because she's my friend and I wanted her to ring announce me. The entire reason why I took a devastating choke slam was for that. She was very excited to meet other people of of Middle Eastern descent throughout this trip. So I was introducing her to Mojo, to Mansoor, to Mustafa Ali. And it's funny because she would go up and she'd go, "What are you? What are you? What are you?" Like that. And Mustafa Ali was like, it doesn't matter. We're all the same to this guy, and pointed to me. I was like, what the hell? What's this about? Excuse me, sir. I interviewed Muhammad Hassan one time. I get a pass on these jokes. Come on. Get me out of here.
Yeah, I'm sure Mark was really excited to hear that story.
Yeah. Yeah. I did meet Mark Capani this weekend. That was phenomenal. Man, that dude is jacked. GCW asked me if he would work the clusterfuck, and I mentioned it to him, and he's like, "Man, I would fall apart if I did that right now." But
you don't really have to do anything.
Exactly.
Fuck.
Exactly.
Show up and then that's it. Nobody knows how eliminations work.
Yeah,
I mean,
you just gotta take a ladder to the dick via Microman. You're fine.
Do that. But
I asked Joey. I was like, what was up with Dink? Why didn't he show up? And he goes, I just think he was tired.
They made it. I was worried he died. Like,
yeah,
that was the text. It's like he's just tapping out. He just tapped out. Like, wait a second. Is he okay?
You know what?
Did he tap out on life?
I understand. I understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dink tapped out. Sabu wouldn't get on the elevator.
Headbanger Mosh didn't show up to the Squared Circle Rumble last week either. Here's a funny story from the Squared Circle Rumble that I told on. I did a Fightful Tells All on Fightful Select about it. I've put over J-Rod a lot. You guys are going to see her all over the place, man. Like, she just looks like $1,000,000. Great attitude. Really good in the ring, especially for as young as she is. In wrestling, at least. And I met her and she's like, "Hey, will you introduce me to Mikey from Black Label Pro?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." And then like 40 minutes later, I saw her and I was like, "Hey, did you meet Mikey?" And she's like, "Well, I'm in the Rumble now." So I was like, "Okay, glad to see how this is coming together." And I like it because now all of the great wrestlers that were in that match, anytime they do anything, I'll forever be able to say I main evented a show with them.
You main evented a show with Sky Blue. You won't let.
I did.
We can't run back-to-back Sky Blue articles, but
yeah. Well, you all had them scheduled like that. It was very weird.
That wasn't my fault.
Maybe the praise came a little bit too early.
That wasn't my fault. That was
okay. I'm not shocked to learn that, but anyway,
I take no accountability for anything bad that happens.
But really, like Sky Blue, Brittany Brooks, Maggie Lee, J-Rod, Zaya Brookside. I don't know if I said Aaliyah James already. Like, all of those women, like, man, they're really, really good wrestlers. And they made up like the end of the match. And that was a lot of fun.
Burying Shaza McKenzie by not mentioning her.
She wasn't in the match. She wasn't there. She wasn't in town. I managed her on Wednesday, though.
Didn't do a good job.
Since they had that end up.
I did a good job. I can't help that Shaza can't hit somebody who is just standing there. Notorious Mimi is like 5'10". You can't hit her.
Well,
I threw Notorious Mimi into a wall for Shaza. I did a lot of things. I tripped her and made her fall on the stairs and threw her into a wall.
It's not good to throw your players under the bus, Sean. Like, the coach has to take accountability.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Sometimes the coach is the one that's right, and I was the one that was right. And listen, I was legitimately honored that Shaza had me manage her because she risked a lot of her reputation by doing a match with me. And I haven't ruined her reputation yet, so I've got some work to do.
And modern day Doc Rivers over here, just like, I didn't do anything wrong.
I'd say I'm more of a Lou Piniella. I'm willing to fight Rob Dibble if I have to. I'm okay with that. I'm really, really okay with that. Come see me at the biggest event of April 21st, Pawcade in Jeffersonville, Indiana, where I will be in the Pawcade Battle Royal. I don't know if it's a Battle Royal or a Rumble. I should probably check the group chat on that one.
Feels like it'd be a Pawcade Rumble. Just rolls off the tongue better.
Yeah, I mean, Rumbles are just always better
Traditionally, yes.
in that sense. Like if you're going to do a battle, I guess you'll probably find out, huh?
Yeah, that'd be the professional thing to do. Ryan Lambert, by the way, sent a super chat saying, sending y'all love for my airplane seats. Fly safely, Ryan. I hope you had a good time in Philadelphia this
Yeah,
week.
indeed.
I think a lot of people had a good time. There were certainly a lot of people in Philadelphia. My God, you survived Sean Ross Sapp, didn't you? You made it home, one piece.
I did make it home in one piece. I'm a little under the weather, but I think that's more of a need to sleep, need to drink water, need to eat human food type of thing than anything. Also, shout out to Kate for repeatedly making my life easier on that trip. She sent a nice care package of like allergy medicines and waters and stuff like that to my hotel. That was very nice of her. But man, I was just so proud of the coverage that we had on Fightful, because like at some point, because people will be like, hide everything behind a paywall. And then I was like, well, you guys realize we have more free content than any other website in wrestling history, right? Like it's by far
original content.
And
too.
original content too.
Not,
yeah.
Yeah. Not,
Very
a bunch
of
of
that, man.
aggregation stuff, all these quotes that all these engagement accounts like to run. Chances are they came from us.
There are some engagement accounts that I think do things the right way. Like Wrestle Purists, like I think that they do things the right way. They don't post their shit immediately. And what I like about them is they are giving an awful lot of other people voices. It's not Monty just sitting behind there being like, let me refresh Fightful Select. It's not like that. They're giving a lot of people opportunities. But yeah, man.
Now I just want to see Monty, a live camera of him just being like, refresh. I've seen Monty
that man's got a life.
I've seen him work. I know it could be funny to watch that.
That's true, man. But yeah, we worked very, very hard, and I'm very proud of it. But what a fun week this was. I love going to Wale Mania. I'll tell a funny story here. There's somebody who I will not name that I found that a while back took a little shot at me to put somebody else over. And I was like, hey, you know what? You don't need to take a shot at me to put these other good people over. We don't do the same thing. And they got a little butthurt about it, and they tried to talk some trash about me to a friend. And that friend took up for me, and that was really great. Then, I don't use this term, they found me this week and took a mark picture with me. And not only that, snuck into a picture with me and a friend who I'm not going to mention their name because then everybody will know who the person that snuck in was. And they also tried to sneak into media day by bringing gifts to the PR team. And it didn't work. And they tried to do it again. And I'm just like, listen, sometimes you reap what you sow. Sometimes.
Okay, please, obviously not on air, but I want to know who this person is now.
There you go. I sent it in the private chat.
Oh, okay.
Also, how about Matt Hardy? Y'all talked about that yet?
No,
we haven't even gotten to night 2 of Mania yet.
We were just talking about.
I'm just here killing time. What time's our Mustafa Ali interview?
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Cool.
Allegedly.
Nice.
I'm so concerned over what's happening here.
That's okay. Executive producer Sean Ross Sapp.
We have one of those. She DMs us.
Listen, she's too worried about this footage it's airing Wednesday. That's all she's worried about right now. Not working on her putting stroke. That's for damn sure. That's going down this year, Jeremy Lambert.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do Jesus golf.
I mean that and I'll be near where you live. If you think that we're not getting together for group putt during that week, you're wrong. And I'm going to post that scorecard, and I will be vindicated when there's like a 97 next to her initial on the scorecard. It's going to happen.
I'm going to start taking afternoons off, and we're just going to go putt every afternoon and just the same course we're going to go to. Yeah, and practice. And we're going to be able to just have the course completely mastered.
Going to do going to be in training camp.
Yeah. Just to avoid it. I would like this to be more like the other guys where like Mark Wahlberg learned to sarcastically dance. just so he can make fun of other people. But yeah, Matt Hardy is officially a free agent. So the Fightful Select story highlighted this, but his deal was actually up last month, and for some reason they extended it like 3 weeks, coincidentally to be up at midnight after Mania. Now, I don't know that there would have been like a big spot for him on Mania or anything. Maybe like a backstage, somebody runs into broken Matt Hardy thing. Hee ha ha. I don't know if there would have been a fit there. But it's so funny because like I was watching throughout this weekend and last weekend, their Q&A session or their signing lines are like supposed to be 5 hours, and they stayed 7 hours every day. I think they probably cleared 6 figures collectively at these things.
People like to, knock the Hardys because of what happens on television, and Matt will tweet a lot of stuff, and people like to knock the podcast because they read quotes and everything. Every single con that these two are at, longest line every single time, like without fail, they have the longest line.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. I mean, but he's a free agent. I am working on more news regarding Jeff Hardy. I know that Corey Brennan has been working on some Julia stuff. We're going to kind of streamline all that, get to work on a lot of those ASAP. But, man, Mustafa Ali, speaking about long lines, I mean, that guy's selling out every single show that he's on. Mustafa Ali is.
Absolutely wild. The guy, you talk about taking a bet on yourself. It pays off. I don't think anyone's really surprised by that, but at the same time, it couldn't happen to a better person and a better performer. So I think it's been a pretty cool testament, and I get to see him, do it at TNA, and I get to cover the show. And that's just been one facet of success that he has seen as he's kind of made his way through a new world of his own, that he's created a new character, a new presentation, a new everything. And I'm looking forward to talking about that with him momentarily.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you something that was pretty cool this weekend as well. So, I mean, Revolver is like the work that Sami Callihan puts in and the care to that. Like, as I was talking to my friend Samira, that's like a goal of her to ring announce. There are people in wrestling, like their goal is to make it to Pro Wrestling Revolver because it's so hot right now. He defended the X Division title against Amazing Red. And to me, Amazing Red is one of the people that made me love that style. I saw the clips of him and Low Key back in the day, and it was like a real life Mortal Kombat match. Like that's how I felt. So getting to see that he defended that title against him was very cool. And it's not just the stuff he's doing in TNA. Like, again, he's doing House of Glory and my God, what else was it that he Deadlock Pro recently? Just he's all over the place. He's putting in that work and doing incredibly.
Yeah, I remember when he did the Canadian tour. That was obviously big for me. That was a really cool opportunity to see him come around to Toronto and come to Ottawa for C4. That was a really cool moment. So looking forward to talking with him. And hey, look, he's backstage. If he's ready, he can give us a thumbs up. Oh, let's get right to it.
Oh, look at him. Look at him right there. Look at this guy.
Joining us, guys, the one and only X Division champion from TNA. It's Mustafa Ali. Good morning.
Good morning, kind sirs. How is everyone today?
Well, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
I have a bone to pick with you, Mustafa Ali.
Oh, no. Well,
I told this story on the air, but I want to see your reaction to it. I was introducing my good friend Samira to many people. She was very, very excited to meet people who influenced her of Middle Eastern descent. So I introduced her to Mojo and Mansoor and Ali, and it popped me because she would walk up and she'd go, "What are you?" to everybody. And you looked at her and you said, "That doesn't matter. We're all the same to this guy," and pointed to me. What gives?
Am I wrong?
No.
He said no.
He said, yeah, you said no. You just...
Wait. Yes.
Yeah,
yes, you are wrong. No, that's not accurate.
Guys,
at all.
Let's just leave it be. He's already answered the question.
Damn it.
Let's just move on. He walked right into that, man.
You tricked me. You are a politician.
It doesn't take much to trick you, Mr. Sapp. But
damn it.
You should listen to the question, Sean. That's your own doing.
Listen, that's a lot of work.
It's your own question. You wrote it down. I saw you looking down. You wrote
It's a
it down.
lot of
You
work, man.
Well,
You
we're
killed
we're
it.
off to a hot start, aren't we? There we
Yeah,
go.
I mean, we were talking off air, or not off air, on camera. I mean, you're killing it, especially this weekend. I mean, you were defending the X Division title in TNA, or from TNA, at a Revolver House of Glory show against a TNA legend in Amazing Red, somebody who made me really appreciate that style. What does carrying that torch mean for you? Because, I mean, were you a person who was inspired by the X Division as you grew up?
Listen, Mr. Sapp, the kind folks at Fightful. I know the response you want from me right now. You want me to sit here and talk about, yeah, of course, as a 16-year-old kid, it meant so much, and Ricochet and I were geeking over this. And although there's some truth to that, I have to be so honest with you guys, because I'm just looking at the industry as a whole. I'm looking at what I've done on this world tour of mine, and how much adulation and praise I've given guys like Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley and Amazing Red. And the truth is this now, I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed because I have been running a schedule like nobody else for the past 4 months. I'm in Costa Rica, I'm in London, I'm in Philly, I'm going back, Chicago, sold out shows, legendary opponents, fasting during the month of Ramadan, cover up PWI. I mean, I'm doing it all, right? Not a scratch on me. Not a dent in my armor. You think Sabin would do something? You think Shelley would do something? You think Red would? Somebody, anybody, hurt me. Take me to the limit. Here's my request. I want somebody, for the first time in my existence, to make me doubt myself, to make me question if I really am that good. I thought Red would do it. Didn't come close. Mr. Sabin, the greatest TNA X Division champion of all time. Smoked him. My debut match. Mr. Shelley didn't come close. Beat him with a roll-up, actually. So here's my, and I'm being humble about this. I hope you guys can see my sincerity in this. I'm doing all of this while not eating and not drinking from sunrise to sunset. Do you guys understand the scope of this? 5 days a week I'm on the road, sold out shows, autograph signings, seminar, all this stuff. I got the industry in my hand, and no one could put a dent in my armor. So yes, here's me being humble. Yes, Amazing Red's a legend. It's great to share the ring with him. I got to say kind words to him, told him how I felt, told him as a 16-year-old kid. He's the first VHS tape that I watched that was non-adult related. But that's another point of view that we can talk about another time. But I watched the very best of Amazing Red, and I got to tell him that he did, create a path for me to walk on. But I'm disappointed. I cannot find someone. So please, Fightful fans, all the boys watch this, right? All the boys love Fightful. Please, somebody, anybody, make me doubt myself. Put a dent in my armor. Please. It's a humble request.
Well, let's talk about it. April 20th in the Pearl Theater at the Palms, TNA Rebellion. Jake Something is your next opponent going after that TNA X Division World Championship or X Division Championship. Is that the guy? Talk to me, because you've been on a tear. You're talking about everything you've done. You're also trying to put limits on this X Division. So
let's reel it back here. Let's reel it back
He's
here.
a big beefy fella. He's beefy.
I would almost say too big. Now hear me. There's no fear, in my voice when I say this. You could see it in my eyes. There's no fear, right? I'm a very confident individual. But they keep telling me that the X Division supposedly is no limits, and I've never heard of that phrase ever. But there can't be no limits, right? Like there's got to be some limits. Like when you get on the street and you're driving, can't be no limits, right? There's a speed limit, and limits are there to preserve things, to ensure that they continue to happen. So this whole idea of a guy that's well over 300 pounds, I believe, last time I checked. Question if he's natural. If the fact that he is competing against someone that is natural, someone that's well below 200 pounds, I don't see how it measures up. So I'm actively talking to the TNA office to actually have that match removed at the pay-per-view. And I want everyone to realize that Jake Something just isn't right. for the exhibition. So for all the good folks watching this live, please set out the hashtag something ain't right, and then make sure you at TNA so that they get the message. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you.
If they don't remove the match, can you introduce limits though? You just question how natural he might be. Can you get a drug test? Can we do a weigh-in? Anything? You're the champion. You call the shots here.
Not just the champion, the president of professional wrestling, and I do have my cabinet actually working on administering a drug test as we speak. But thank you, Mr. Lampert.
I mean, Kevin Nash once did throw some pretty heavy accusations of PED use around the X division, and now you're saying, "Oh, maybe that's true."
Listen, I'm not saying anything. I'm just presenting some topics. You guys discuss it. Accusations don't come from me. I have an observation. That's all.
How would Mustafa Ali perform in the Paparazzi Championship Series that we saw Alex Shelley and Kevin Nash use years ago? I saw that TNA actually posted the full video of all of those on their YouTube recently. How would you perform?
See, Mr. Sapp, I don't really perform. I just am. This idea of performing is just such a novel concept, but I don't think I would partake because I have serious business. And Mr. Sapp, I have a bone to pick with you. You are such a in the past guy. Let's talk about the future.
Okay.
Let's talk about what's next. Let's talk about, I don't know, how Mustafa Ali is the hottest free agent in professional wrestling right now. How everyone's calling me, but how every show that I'm on sold out. How the next generation is coming up to me asking how they can learn from me. But here you are wasting my valuable time talking about Alex Shelley and paparazzi stuff. Good on you, Mr. Sapp. Good on you. You're something.
I mean, these are people that you had history with in Saban and Shelley. Immediately recent history.
Sean, the man said he didn't want to talk about the past.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, I can think of a couple other people who have been accused of being political, who have abstained from participating in things that could perhaps either expose them or highlight them. And I don't know.
Mr. Sapp, did you take your medication today? Because something's quite off with you, sir.
What medication do you think I'm on?
I don't know. You clearly need something because you're quite off today, sir. Yeah, I thought he was going to walk off right now.
You are asking about things that are honestly, I don't want to speak for Mr. Ali here, but like the paparazzi, it's below him. Like it's an old concept, a dead concept. There's a reason why it hasn't been brought back or anything like that. Like
what's going on here?
I like Mr. Lambert style. You, my man, you get it.
I have a question regarding, you're talking about the future. You brought some good hands to your forefront recently. You did cast them aside. I know that was in the interest of having a great 6-man tag match, but let's talk about working with good hands, because they are two, not only living up to their names, but two guys that continue to show growth in TNA. Talk to me about working with good hands.
I did have the distinct honor and pleasure of working with the good hands, but I think they are in a similar position where I found myself years ago, where sometimes you need to be a squeaky wheel. Being the good soldier, the whatever you need will only get you so far sometimes, and I feel they're incredibly talented, but sometimes you also need to realize when it's time to switch up things, and I think they're in that position in their career right now where they need to either put their foot on the pedal or because in my observation they're kind of taking it off, but again, I think like they're living up to the name, good hands. GYV presented itself as an option, and obviously it was a smart choice because we walked away with the victory. Well, I walked away with the victory because I got the pinfall. But yeah, it was a great strategic choice, and that's what great leaders do, right? We make the hard choices, we make adjustments, we go to the war room and we strategize, and we walk away with victories.
Is there anybody, you mentioned, no one's laid a scratch on you. All these old names
scratch
of the past.
What am I at? 27-0. I'm yelling at my wife. She's also my press secretary. 28-0. Something like that. A scratch? Nothing.
Is there anyone out there who you think like maybe this guy, maybe he'll challenge me a little bit. Obviously, I mean, not going to beat you or anything, but maybe you'll be a little bit challenged.
I'm hoping people are tripping me about this guy, Hiromu. He talks to a cat or something. He's a big deal in Japan. He's coming over. Oh, he's going to be the one. Okay. You know, all these promotions that are booking me against their top guys. You know, there's a Casey Navarro, Storm Grayson, a Mr. Blackwood. You know, all these guys, and rightfully so. You know, if you want to make an impression, if you want people to actually talk about you, go after the guy that everyone's talking about. So I applaud their enthusiasm. But no, I don't see anyone on the horizon that's under 200 pounds. I don't see anyone that's on the horizon that could even come remotely close to what I'm doing on the microphone, in the ring, presentation, promos, suits, maybe. It's me. It's me, and then there's me. That's it.
You mentioned wanting to institute limits because maybe it seems a little bit unfair, and I know that Jeremy
Well,
called
they're
you
unfair, unjust, Mr. Sapp. Use the words that I use, unjust. But go on, sir.
Unjust, sure. Jeremy talked about you being a leader. What changes would you make to the X division? What limits would you institute if you could institute limits in addition to those you've mentioned earlier?
There you go, Mr. Sapp. You clearly have taken your medication. Now you're asking great questions. So one, weight limits, obviously, because again, who wants to see Jake something as a champion? The guy's grotesque. But I would like to give people some sort of power, some sort of vote in this. So I would hold open votes. I would have a town hall meeting. That's what I would do. I would have a town hall meeting amongst the X divisions competitors, and maybe we could some sort of vote. I mean, we're a democracy, right? We should vote for who is next in line. And then, I mean, as the X division champion, I should obviously have the final say whether that happens or not. But I think that would be fun. I think that would be fair. You know, a town hall meeting. Town hall meetings, right? Everyone can kind of come up to the podium and present their case, so to speak. So that's something I would impose. I think it's a novel concept. I think it's kind of great. I think I might do it.
Well, Mr. Ali, you're a beacon of fairness, and you have that TNA X Division Championship, and it comes with the option for option C to cash in for a World Heavyweight Championship shot. Is that something that you are interested in pursuing, or are you more attuned to the X Division style?
So I think it's inevitable. I think, you know, great men do great things, you know, and I am a great man. So it's inevitable for me to achieve the next level of greatness. But I am so focused on the task at hand. And right now, the task at hand, my good friend, is to make the X Division great again. And there's only one man that could do that. It's me. So the groundwork has been laid. We are building the foundation to greatness, but there's still work to be done. People like Jake Something are kind of preventing the progress of that. They will be removed, and then we will continue under our path of greatness. So until I feel like the X Division has surpassed its previous, I mean, Sean Rass, Sapp's favorite thing is talk about the past, so we'll talk about the past here momentarily. You know, talk about the greatness of the X Division in the past. You know, the AJs and the Low Keys and the Christopher Daniels, all these great guys. I'm looking to surpass all of that. You know, my debut match, the main event of No Surrender. The last time that was done is 2005. You know, so I've already the cover of PWI. The last time that happened, the TNA X Division champion was on the cover of PWI. It was what, 2006. So already I'm making strides to make the X Division great again, and I will make the X Division great again.
Mr. Ali, I appreciate your humbleness on, you know, you want to surpass. I feel like we're there though. What if, you know, all these other guys, the names of the past, they weren't going around the country. They weren't going to promotion, selling out all these arenas.
My kind man, he said the country. You meant the world. You want to hear about my what was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago? We had I flew out Thursday night to Philadelphia. Did 2 sets of TV tapings for TNA in Philadelphia. Saturday, 2 more sets of TV tapings in Philadelphia. Sunday morning, flew to Costa Rica. Flight was delayed, landed when the show started, went straight to the arena. Wrestled a guy that did not speak English. That was an experience. Did the meet and greet after the match. Was back in my hotel at 2 o'clock in the morning. Flight was at 4:30 in the morning. Landed Monday. Tuesday morning, flew from Chicago to somewhere in Connecticut. I'm already forgetting. for Fight Life Pro. Wrestled JT Dunn. Came back Wednesday. Thursday morning, Chicago to Dayton, Ohio for Pro Wrestling Revolver, a 5-hour drive. Toured up with the homie Rich Swann. Defeated him, of course. Friday morning, drove an hour and a half from Dayton to Indianapolis, Indiana for Squared Circle Expo. Came back home at midnight from Indianapolis, Indiana to Chicago. And then Saturday morning, caught a 7 a.m. flight to Spokane, I believe it's called, Spokane, Washington, which is a hell of a way to travel. I think we had to stop in Denver to Spokane. Wrestled Alex Zane, defeated him, of course. And then came back Sunday, and that was just 1 week. That was just 1 week in the life of the presidential candidate, the TNA X Division champion, Mustafa Ali. So yeah, I'm all over the place, and I completely forgot what your question was. Go on.
I was saying that the past, nobody else was doing this. And by the way, you got to be admired for. You said you drove all this. Like, you were doing this, putting the miles on yourself to do this. You're not asking for help from other people. You certainly could. Like, you know, Mr. Ali, you're the TNA X Division champion. You could get the limo, get the bus, get the private jet and everything. Instead, you were showing you were still an on the ground, boots on the ground type of champion by still doing these things yourself, and no one's leaving a scratch on you. I don't know if I really have a question. This is just more. I feel you're not getting the credit you deserve from everybody.
It's as you put it, so humbly, it's a lot to undertake, and the fact that I was able to do it at such a high level and come out, it's really a Ramadan miracle. I know that's not an expression used too much, but it's really a Ramadan miracle. And here we are smiling, healthy, happy. I'm happy, guys. Sean Russ, Sap doesn't look too happy, but I'm happy.
It's my turn to ask a question. I'm going to compromise with the past future thing that we seem to be at a head on. You faced a fella by the name of Jonathan Gresham back in 2016. You guys tore it up, had a 30-minute match. You won that match. It was announced this past week that he has signed with TNA officially. You guys have both changed significantly since then. You've grown significantly since then, physically, in the ring, as people. What was your immediate reaction to a guy like Jonathan Gresham, widely considered one of the best in-ring performers in the world, wrestlers in the world, signing with TNA?
Great win for TNA. A great opportunity for Mr. Gresham. And he inevitably will come knocking on my door, and then I'll decide whether or not will answer the door. Mr. Gresham doesn't interest me as an opponent. He's no one that's going to elevate me.
He's not over 200 pounds. Is there
Again,
is there a height requirement now? Are you adding that?
Why are you making something? When did I say that, Mr.
You
Sapp?
said that.
When a height requirement?
He never said anything. Sean
said that.
I said the match itself does nothing for me. I will gladly give him the match as an act of charity to help him out. Make a splash, Mr. Gresham. Mr. Gresham can get some notoriety.
That act of charity isn't tax deductible, just so you know. I'm sure that will be checked on at some point.
Sapp, what is your issue with me in the Mustafa Ali campaign? What have we done for you? Do you not?
I feel like there are some discrepancies.
Remember the first comment you made about you bringing that young lady around and kind of categorized?
You categorized it.
Mr. Sapp, we're going to move on. Mr. Gresham is an incredible athlete. As far as the campaign, I think we're a little above Mr. Gresham in more than one ways. But I would gladly do the dance one more time with Mr. Gresham. It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing for him. It would be amazing for the fans. And it's an amazing act of charity on the behalf of the Mustafa Ali campaign. Thank you.
Thanks for your answer.
Before I ask my question, I also just want to point out Mustafa Ali has also had a match and defeated Jonathan Gresham once before while Ali held a championship.
I said that! I said that in my question!
I know.
What are we doing here? I said they tore it up in a half an hour. There's CZW versus Freelance. I know.
It bears repeating.
Mr. Sapp, if everyone is yelling, no one's listening. Let's lower the voice. He didn't take his medication today, did he, guys? I think you guys should have a conversation. It's very unprofessional. It's not a good look on the campaign and what we're trying to establish to the audience here. I apologize to those viewing. Again, world, everyone listening. If everyone's yelling, no one's listening.
Sean is just also looking for handouts on people as well. You know, you are a very, very charitable man, Mr. Ali, but like,
Thank you.
what is Mr. Gresham done? You know, just
I'm
comes in.
sure Mr. Gresham is again a credible athlete. He does the octopus thing. I saw the new vignette that he had aired. It's very intriguing. I think he's trying to convey a complex character that has some depth and narrative this time, which will be exciting. But again, I mean this with all sincerity. There is nobody at this level that's doing what I'm doing. That's even coming close. I will look anyone in the eye and tell them, I don't sweat you. I don't fear you. There's not an aspect of this game that you are better than me in it. And listen, I would tell them, I know that I am not God Almighty, but in this ring, you lower your head to me. So Mr. Gresham is not anyone that I would make me second guess what I just said.
So the question that I actually wanted to ask you was in regards to Ramadan, and like you were saying, that your entire world changes during that time frame. Can you kind of walk us through how your training regimen and how your days change during Ramadan?
Yeah, for the most part, the easiest way for me to explain this to you is that my day kind of gets flipped upside down. So typically, I'm wake up in the morning. This is outside Ramadan, obviously. I would wake up in the morning, do some empty stomach cardio, have a nice big breakfast, and then head off to the gym. And then during the time I could get some in-ring training. And with Ramadan, for those that don't know, Ramadan's a month for Muslims where we abstain from food and water from sunrise to sunset. And the reasoning behind that is not only for discipline, but also self-reflection. There's a time right before you break your fast, the sun's about to set. And all you're thinking about is like, man, I'm so hungry. I'm so thirsty. I can't wait to demolish all this food in front of me. And it's at that moment you're supposed to take a second and realize that there are millions across the world that feel the exact same hunger that you feel. And the fact that you're looking at food, you know you're going to eat. Like, it's fact, right? There's nothing. And if you don't have food in front of you, you have a credit card, you have money in your pocket, like, you're not going to go hungry. And you're supposed to take a moment to realize there's people all over the world that feel the exact same hunger that you do, but they have no idea when the next drop of water is coming, or when the next bite of food's coming. And that puts everything in perspective. And then you really realize that life's troubles might not so much be much of a trouble at that point. So if you walk around with that perspective, if you walk around with that type of gratefulness, it really puts things in perspective. So that's the reasoning behind it. And then as far as like my training schedule, I would just basically flip it upside down, man. So I would break my fast in the evening. There's a nightly prayer that happens that ends relatively late. But by then the kids are asleep, wife's at home, whatnot. So I'll basically go train for about an hour and a half, 2 hours in the middle of the night, and then wake up again before sunrise, have my huge breakfast then. So that's only I don't want to call it inconvenient when I get kind of already explained what the purpose of Ramadan is. So if I just have to get up in the middle of the night to train, I'll do that. But that's just my big change. It's a little harder when you have to perform. So like the Amazing Red match happened at 3 p.m. Like the show started at 3 p.m. and fasted and break till about 8 p.m. in Philly. So that was a little like that one was a little rough. And then I've had it a few times where I've performed with WWE. If I was at the first match, or if I was doing main event, which is recorded before Raw, which starts at like 7 o'clock. I've had a few times where it's like this will be a little rough. But again, when you put things in perspective, it's not so rough then.
Mr. Sapp, do you have any more bias questions?
I mean, bias in what sense? But you want to talk about bias? Here we go.
What are you looking up online now?
I'm not looking. I'm just making sure the dates are correct here. About 2 weeks before I faced Shaza McKenzie, you trained her in the ring. This seems like it was intentional, because you're not just gonna go. That seemed like a charity case.
Mr. Sapp, do you know my training schedule? Do you know when I frequent the freelance wrestling academy?
Why wouldn't you make that public?
So if you would see this, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good lesson. This is a good lesson about someone taking a narrative and spinning it to create an image that is false.
I asked the question.
Mr. Sapp, I did not train Miss McKenzie to
So she
to-
lied. So she lied. That, you know what? That's just as satisfying. We can end it here. I'm very
No.
happy with the answer in which you provided. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am so glad that we can clear this up. Shaza lied. There we go.
Guys, I was at a training camp that I regularly hold, and Shaza showed up and just jumped in the training camp. That's all that happened.
I feel now we've also gotten to the crux of why Mr. Sapp has been so angry today. Is he's accusing you of training someone to beat him. By the way, I'm not gonna.
Did she beat you?
Yes, I was gonna say clearly if I don't want to throw an accusation out there, if Mr. Ali did help Miss McKenzie for this match, clearly did a fantastic job because she won. So
She won.
But now we see the crux of why Mr. Sapp's been so angry.
Mr.
Today.
Sapp is just
I apologize for his unprofessionalism, Mr. Ali.
That's okay, guys. We always have someone that we regret in our life. So,
Well, as we start to wrap up, we have one last question for you. It's a little game we like to play on the program. It's called Partner, Promo, or Punch in the Face. I'm going to give you 3 names, and you're going to pick which person you would like to partner with in a tag team match, which one you'd like to have a promo with in the ring one-on-one, and which one you'd like to punch in the face in a singles competition. These 3 names are very near and dear to our hearts and yours. We're going to pick Leon Slater, Jonathan Gresham, and you know what? Sean Ross Sapp. Mustafa Ali, partner, promo, punch in the face.
Jonathan Gresham, punch in the face because my fist is already right by his face, so it'll be easy. Leon wouldn't be much of a promo, so maybe partner, so I can actually teach him how to be good. And then Sean likes to talk. So not that he'd be much of a battle either, but I actually think he'd be better than the other 2. So I would like to do a little promo off with Mr. Sapp, so I could verbally eviscerate him as well.
Well,
but
I would like to institute
that already
some limits
happened
as well.
today.
You can only tell the truth in these promos. Yeah.
So you would be automatically disqualified then.
Uh-huh.
Well, hopefully there will be no disqualifications on Saturday, April 20th, live at the Pearl Theater at the Palms in Las Vegas. It's TNA Rebellion. Mustafa Ali faces Jake something. At least that's what's on the card for now. We'll see how it plays out. But for now, Ali, is there anything else you'd like to plug before we let you go?
Ladies and gentlemen, professional wrestling is supposed to be fun. Enjoy it. Cheer. Boo. But enjoy it, you assholes. Just enjoy it. Thank you. I wish you all well. And remember that in Ali, we trust.
Thank you, Mr. Ali.
Thank you. Did Mr. Sapp leave us? Good.
Seems like it.
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Apologies that he was here in the first place. Yeah.
All right, guys. Next time, just.
Yeah. Sorry about
That's all right.
that. He's technically our boss. So,
Yeah, we couldn't really stop it.
Wait, you guys work for him?
Yeah.
Someone's got to pay us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna launch my own thing. Hire you guys.
Thank you. That was,
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Just give me a few weeks. I'll get it set up. Okay.
All right, we'll chat about it. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. You have a great day.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Sure. And that is how you do it.
I don't know what happened in that interview. I don't know if we accomplished anything, but that was a lot of fun. So
We just got ourselves a new job.
that's true. I guess at the end of the day, we did get jobs. We're gonna be in Mr. Ali's cabinet.
Do you think he'll get us a hot tub to do the show?
Stop it.
What? I'm asking questions.
Stop.
Thank you to Mustafa Ali. Thank you for joining us. I don't know why Sean had to go ahead and do that, but he was there. He asked questions.
It was very biased.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Very unprofessional. Attacking our guest immediately. Just
Can't do that. We did get a few super chats, so we don't really ask super chat questions of talent these days, just because we want to be respectful to them and to the people who are giving us the talent to interview. We want them to know that the interviews coming from us. We do solicit questions through our Discord, though. If you're on Fightful Select and you go to the In the Weeds Discord, we try to tell people who we're interviewing next so that they can ask questions and we can put those into our notes. So we'll just get a couple of these right now. And first one was actually Kate said, "In Ali we trust." Jeremy stepped away for a second, so don't worry. He was going to be right back. Thank you, Kate. It's good to see you in here. JJ sent a couple, but we'll get to Caden first. He says, "As a Pakistani American, seeing Ali doing cool stuff makes me so incredibly happy. Love the representation." And that's kind of been the theme of the weekend, hasn't it? It's representation and really cool opportunities being given to performers and them being able to go ahead and have their best matches on the biggest stages right now. So it's really cool when everyone feels that love. And Mike Strauss sends a super chat saying, "Just sending my love. By the way, join the Fightful Discord." That's what we're talking about. Join the Fightful Discord, FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. You can get on our Discord, go in the Into Weeds channel, give us all of your thoughts. You get to see thumbnails before they go up. Jeremy Lambert comes to work. He's always having a good time. You good?
Yes, everything's good.
All right, just wanted to make sure. JJ sent a couple super chats saying, "Big fan of Mr. Ali. Thank you for being our X Division champion." He says, "You want someone to doubt you? What about Shark Boy in a fish market street fight?" I was so close to bringing up that question, but I wanted to be respectful to our X Division champion. Give me a shell, yeah.
Bringing up the past.
I know, that's why I said this.
He is tired ideas. Mustafa Ali is here to move things forward.
We're going forward. We're going to the future. We're going to have Ali Select, Mustafa Selects, Ali, whatever. It'll be Fightful Ali. Nah, I don't know about that. But, and then JJ also asked about being on the front cover of a wrestling magazine, PWI in this case, is X Division champ. You did ask, what does it mean to Ali personally, professionally? That is a question that I would have liked to have asked. I feel like, listen, if pride isn't the answer, I don't know what it is. Just to be, not to downplay your question, JJ, but you got to be proud of it. He did mention first time since 2006 that an X Division champion was featured on the front cover of PWI. That's a big deal. So good talk, good chat.
It's a lot of fun with Mustafa Ali, and I feel like we're going to be part of his cabinet now.
Oh, so excited. He can replace us like that, though. I've seen it. You think he'll fly me to Vegas?
No, he doesn't utilize company funds and use the private jet for these things. He does all this stuff himself, Joel.
Such a professional.
Did you not learn anything
from
that interview?
Not at all. I mean, I paid attention, but also, like to make sure that I hit my marks and everything. Wilcherson sent a super chat, getting us back on track to what we were talking about before Sean Ross Sapp even showed up. Said, "I love how when Cody was pinning Roman was smiling at Cody." That photo did go around, little screen cap. Roman smiled. Listen, if you don't think Roman Reigns is, if you don't understand how proud he is of everything he's accomplished in the last 3 years, I don't know what to tell you. There was video shared of Roman and Paul Heyman hugging at the top of the ramp while really everyone had their eyes set on Cody Rhodes and the celebration in the ring. You cannot you cannot underestimate or just speak differently about how much Roman has put into the last 3 years alone as champion. This doesn't happen. This moment doesn't happen without the presentation of Roman Reigns, for better or worse, because there were moments where we were, again, after 39 saying it should have happened. They found a way to bring it around and make last night even more special than arguably last year could have been. And I think that's worth mentioning.
It was, I know a lot of people were upset last year. I know a lot of people weren't sure if Cody wasn't sure if Cody could get back to that level, and not the level of like back in the main event, but like the fan investment of everything. Credit to everybody. He got back to that level. Yeah, it was a much bigger, The Rock coming in. I know the plan was something different, but you can't deny that The Rock coming in and doing what they ended up doing with The Rock, doing the tag team match leading into night 2, it was all so much bigger than it would have been last year. You can look back at last year now and say, "Oh, did they make the right call?" Like, looking back, it seems like they made the right call. And it was highly debated at the time if that was the right call. People thought like you may have just missed the moment. You got to pull the trigger on these moments when you get them, because you don't know if they're going to come back around. They didn't. People were upset about it. People were like, why'd you beat Sammy? That would have been the moment. Oh, you did it to lead into Cody. Wait, you beat Cody? That was the moment. And they somehow got it all back, and in an even bigger way with last night. And that is a credit to Roman Reigns. It's a credit to Heyman, because they've worked very much hand in hand with all of this. A lot of people have praised Roman for, leading up to and after last night. Triple H spoke very highly of him. Cody spoke very highly of him. The Rock spoke highly of him. Like, you can not be thrilled that Roman wasn't showing up every single week, that he wasn't making all the towns, that his matches were what they were sometimes. You want to talk about just levels to things, though. Roman is a guy that gets it, and he got it way back in the pandemic of let's do something different. Presentation, character, everything. Let's do something different. And he did it. He did it in his way. Again, people weren't happy that he doesn't show up every week. To me, I liked it, because it wasn't a situation where nothing was getting advanced every week. Heyman would still be there. The Usos would still be there. Stuff would still move forward. It moved a little slow. Yeah, it's a 4-year story. It's going to. They repeated some story beats. Things got a little muddy. I'm not going to try to retcon all of that. But he did something different in these past 4 years. And he put a lot into it. He took the company to heights that really unheard of in a lot of ways. And he was the face behind all of that. You can have your fighting champions. Seth did what he did with the title. Cody's going to be a great champion. Roman's entire run, though, was something that I don't know if we're gonna see. I don't know if we're gonna see like a 4-year run like that, because I don't know if they're gonna keep titles on people for that long, because I don't think you can be active every single week as a 4-year champion. That seems like something else.
It's also
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. You're gonna say something. Go ahead.
I was just gonna praise Roman more, so you can go ahead.
I was gonna add, actually, with the Roman stuff. Yeah, you're probably not going to see another 3.5, 4-year title reign, because the time Roman came back was mid-pandemic.
Yeah,
and he was able to. They were able to batch tape, or at least do things in a way that, yeah, listen, it wasn't a very hot product at the time. The world was definitely thinking about other things. But like, you didn't have to worry about the gates. You didn't have to worry about anything other than your TV product. And as a result, the storytelling involved with the bloodline and with Roman Reigns became the focus, because you could take things like, how are we going to fill the arena? That didn't matter anymore for the first, year and a half, almost 2 years of that title reign. That means something. And you're not going to get it again, because now the focus is back to, how do we keep this product hot? And it's not going to be hot potatoing the title to the next person. No, Cody having a successful title reign is the next part of the story. And what does that look like? Everyone's saying, who's next for Cody? What's next for Cody? And he says, one story ends, the next story continues. And it's true. Do you go right to Gunther? What do you do next? But again, with Roman, this all comes together because they had time to start building this story from the ground up.
The things Roman, he talked about this in interviews leading up, is he stepped away at the beginning of the pandemic. He didn't want to wrestle in the warehouse. He wanted to protect his health and his family, which every right to do. It was more about that than the not wrestling in the warehouse, by the way. I do want to clarify that. He returned when it came to Thunderdome, and he mentioned, I just kind of observed everything during that time. So he was clearly still watching. And he said, like, I observed everything. And what people were doing was they were wrestling like it was still in front of thousands of people. And it wasn't. You're wrestling an empty warehouse. You're wrestling in front of screens. It's like, so I had to do something different. That's where the talking came in. Not only the talking and just the presentation with the segments, everything, but the talking during the matches. And he kept that. And people, myself included, I remember like when he got back in crowds, like, what was the reaction going to be like? How is he going to be able to still kind of do this in front of crowds? And it speaks to just how good Roman is, that when they did get back in front of crowds, he didn't really change much as far as the presentation goes. Instead, now, like, okay, we are back in front of crowds. Now I can use them to play into everything instead of, not worrying about them being here. Now let's make them part of this entire act. Let's get them invested. Let's get those reactions. Let's draw that out. Hey, great job with it. Every time Roman is on screen, I always think this man should just be champion forever. He does all of the great little things that just pop me as how I like to kind of take in wrestling. I know people don't like the kayfabe press conferences and stuff. I think all press conferences are pretty stupid anyway.
Oh my God, it's CM Punk over here.
Mainly because it creates more work for me.
Okay, yes.
Him doing the no offense to Van Vliet. He asked the questions he asked. Heyman shut it down immediately. And then his next question and immediately dismissing that. I died at that.
They knew.
Died.
They knew. Paul knew that was going to be question number one. They knew. There was no, like, that was the one question that they could have prepared for, and they did. I thought you were going to bring up what happened with Issa when Roman Reigns calls on Issa, a Demon Diva, specifically because he knows all about it, and he calls her out.
Yeah,
and then someone goes boo, and the most tense, awkward moment in that room was Roman dead ass just being like, "Get her out of here, security, get her out."
He didn't flinch. That's the part I liked about that the most. Is he's like, "Get her out." It's like, I'm not playing. I'm here to work. Get her out. Like, I don't know if this man's actually serious or not. Clearly he is, but like, he's like, "Get her out." I did like that. I was very happy for Issa, who named her dog after Roman Reigns, that she got to ask that question. And yeah, maybe Roman did know, like, okay, this person is gonna, maybe WWE knew, I don't know, but like, I was like, oh, that's good. That's good for Issa, who is a day one acknowledger. So I like Roman's press conferences. We love Alex McCarthy. Him getting McCarthy acknowledge me, like, he's very good in those settings. Also, the thing that popped me the most last night in that match, him and Cody, he hits the crossroads and Cody kicks out. And he has a look of a little astonishment at first, but then he just laughs. It's just like, that move sucks. That move don't beat anybody. I just did that for fun. I just did that to throw it in his face. I died at that. His little his comments during the match. He's like, "This is my company, bitch." Like, so good at that kind of stuff. That move sucked was amazing. That move sucks.
It was very good. By the way, we got this was sent to me. This is after Issa, after Roman lost. This was a live look at Issa leaving the arena. Yeah, That the poor woman.
Oh, my lovely wife just messaged me. Other just comments from Roman. We was on McAfee show, which was great. He's so good in those elements, but the big dick rider, that Michael Cole.
That stuff was great. there's just so many moments where, and again, like going back to our conversation on Friday, where we're talking about like what influences our fandom, when were we last invested in matches like this, and like how coverage that we do changes our intake of wrestling. And I think you can judge by the conversation we're having now. We found ways to become invested and entertained by WrestleMania and the things that you can find. Like, listen, there is that little thing of like, what if they don't have Cody finish it? But after WrestleMania Saturday, after Saturday night, you're kind of like, nah, they got to do it. You can't be that ham-fisted about like Cody's screwed. He's gonna die tomorrow night. It's over for everyone. It's like, listen, we get it. But also in the movies, if I watch a movie, 9 times out of 10, you know how it ends. You know the good guy wins. You know the big moment's coming. He gets the girl or whatever. He gets the title in this case, and and that's it. He gets to celebrate. And then they go to episode 3 where they, lose the car or whatever.
I turn the movies off before the bad guy dies. That's just how I personally.
Just to preserve the memory of the bad guys.
Yeah.
I get it. I do.
Roman's it was a legendary run for a lot of reasons. I know people they'll debate match quality and all this kind of stuff. Like, fine. Like, that's how you enjoy your wrestling. More power to you. For me, the stuff with Sammy, the moments with Sammy, even some of the stuff with Kevin, the stuff with Jay as well. I didn't really buy that Jay was going to win at SummerSlam. I don't think really anybody did. Jay, it was fully elevated with everything that went on. Sammy elevated a lot of people on this. LA Knight, people at LA Knight were like, this should be the guy right here. And look, LA Knight got over before Roman, but and then Cody, like the moment, Cody's moment isn't as memorable if it doesn't happen with Roman. Roman brought he changed a lot of things on screen, and Triple H said it, on screen and off screen. We won't fully know the impact off screen until maybe some stuff comes out, but man, he did things differently. I liked how he did things. He kept things fresh while not always being present and just having great match. Like, people looked at that as a knock, and I'm like, huh? Get paid the most? Show up to wrestle 12 times a year? No, this is how it should be. You guys, the business is the business. This man does business. 5-star matches. Bump that. Money.
He was money. Speaking of 5-star matches, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention CM Punk and his involvement in the World Heavyweight Championship match to open the show. So here's the thing. I enjoyed the presentation of Drew versus Seth Rollins. I liked the whole play was Seth Rollins is banged up. We knew this going in, and then he had the night 1 match, blah, blah, blah. Drew winning was perfect. Drew being hoisted on his own petard by going and just getting too extreme with CM Punk and his gloating, only for Punk to take it out on him and then get cashed in on. It did 2 things. 1, it still sets up Drew and Punk. It sets up Drew and Damian Priest, and it also takes away any feeling that Priest would have cashed in on Cody after winning the WWE Undisputed Championship. They accomplished 3 things in the first 20 minutes of the show, and I appreciated that. And then, of course, Rollins, he'll come back. He'll come back and go for the title. He might even go after Cody. We talked about that earlier, the IOU one. But I like that was the way that the show started off. You got Drew getting his moment and then just flying too close to the sun, and it burned him badly. There was some good storytelling in that match, and I want to point that out because I know we spent a lot of time on Cody and Roman, obviously, but the opening of that night presentation was so good. Pipe band, Seth got his Mardi Gras, not in New Orleans area entrance. Great.
I'm with Punk. I heard the bagpipes, and I'm like, they got the hologram of Roddy Piper coming out here.
I
What?
thought so too.
What is going on?
People only know one pipe song, and that's the one.
Factual.
And then, oh my God, as Drew is gloating to Punk, and Punk's like, I can't hear shit because I'm wearing cans. And
Yeah.
so the parabolic mic guy has to bring it over so that Punk can hear. That was fantastic. That moment was great.
Like I said that Drew should lead the champion. He should be the champion. I still believe that. Honestly, I wanted a Drew run. I think he deserved it.
And we might still get it. That's the whole thing.
But the way they set it up was very well done. So I'm not gonna knock the way it was done. Priest now has got to up his game. And it's not all on him. Some of the stuff has just been, booking. They've kind of just cooled with everything, with doing the tag, because he's been in the tag team and Rhea's kind of been the leader. But now Priest he's the guy now. So he has got to he's got to take that responsibility and on screen prove that he can be the guy. And I think Damian Priest is great, by the way, as far as just what he does media wise and the way he carries himself and everything. I mean, I said it last year when we did the Bad Bunny Damian Priest match. A lot of that's a big credit to Damian Priest. It's a huge credit to the trust they had in him. Clearly, they do trust him in these spots. Now on screen, again, now you've got to prove that you can kind of carry things. I think that becomes a little bit more difficult, truthfully, with Cody being the guy as well. Because with Seth, when they created this title, Seth was able to differentiate it by making it workhorse title, showing up every week to defend it. It got stepped on a little bit because you already had Gunther doing that with the Intercontinental Championship. But if you're looking at just world champions, it was like, okay, Roman's not there. So this is your world champion. He shows up on and defends it. Looking back, I think Seth should actually defended that title on SmackDown a couple times just to really rub it in. But now Cody has said, and we know he wants to be a workhorse champion. He said he wants to show up on Raw. He wants to show up on SmackDown. I guess it's a SmackDown exclusive title. That's why they created this other thing. But, if Cody's going to show up on both shows and do all this, where does that leave Priest as far as being the workhorse champion?
It feels to me that Priest is going to end up staying on Raw and that Cody's going to be part of the SmackDown brand when they move to USA. So you've got 7 more months of a little bit of convoluted storytelling. How do we make both titles important in a spot where both champions are going to be workhorse champions? And then of course the Intercontinental Champion is Sami Zayn, and we've already given him his praise and we know what his matches are going to look like as Intercontinental Champion. And then you've got Logan Paul is going to be the only person who's not regularly defending his singles title. That's where things get a little tricky. It is about presentation from here through the summer, because my God, where are they going? 3 weeks they're in Lyon, they're in France, and that's May. Okay.
Yeah.
And then right after that they go to Saudi like 2 weeks later or something. Was it? What were the Saudi?
They got a month. They got a month before France. It's like May 5th, May 4th.
They said
Saudi's
on the telecast, I think.
Okay, well, I'm telling you what the actual day is.
Yeah.
So, and then Saudi's the end of the month. That's like May 24th, May 25th.
Yeah, and they're doing an episode of SmackDown there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So that's May, and then we go into June 15th. They're Clash the Castle in Scotland. And then they're in Toronto for Money in the Bank not long after that. What am I missing? I'm missing something else in there. But then they go to Berlin at the end of August. But first, there's SummerSlam. Basically, there's a lot coming up through the summer. A lot of international travel, a lot of international PLEs, just a lot of stuff going on.
Here's one thing that WWE has done very good with, and you can look at Mania this year, but really under Triple H. I know that people will complain that like the international shows are just kind of like they're good shows, but they're sometimes, so I mean the Saudi shows certainly, but they're just shows for the sake of like doing shows, because obviously you need to have these PLEs, and when you're getting site fees and all this stuff, like yeah, makes sense. My point was, they don't stack these cards. They don't have 15 matches, everybody needs to be on the card type of thing. You can let enough simmer and let enough sit to where it's like, oh, when are you going to do this match? When are you going to do this match? You got a PLE coming up here. You got one coming up here. It's like, well, you can do this match at this PLE and you can hold off the next one for this PLE. They do a very good job of just, hey, we're going to do like 6-7 matches. We're going to build to these matches. And then we might be building other stuff that you just might not see on this one. Wait until the next one. So I think I think like not feeling a rushedness of, oh, we got to wrap up this feud because we have this PLE coming up. It's like, no, we can continue this because we got another one kind of coming up.
Yeah. And you look at the promotional material for a lot of these events, and Cody's on the front, obviously, but like Gunther is on the Bash in Berlin, but he's not on the Backlash one. Randy Orton's on Backlash, but he's not on Bash Berlin. So it's like you do have people that you can play with, and you do have big names that you can get around, and that is helpful. And of course, SummerSlam is right now just Logan Paul because Cleveland and because he got to make the announcement. But like Money in the Bank is Money in the Bank. When you get to a SummerSlam Money in the Bank, the tentpole events, the name gets by. Doesn't matter who's on the card because you just know the show is going to be fun. But Bash in Berlin, Backlash, even the Saudi shows, it's come to the point where I don't think we need to look at Backlash or Bash in Berlin and say like this huge moment has to happen here for this person because they're hometown. They haven't done that. They've done Puerto Rico for that, but other than that, they haven't done huge title moments. Rhea Ripley defends successfully in Australia in Perth. They were going to do Bronson Reed versus Seth, but Bronson wasn't going to win the title there had they done that match. So Bash in Berlin, they could do Gunther versus Sammy or Gunther versus whoever for the Intercontinental Championship again, or they could do the world title match there. Regardless, Gunther doesn't necessarily have to win. You don't need to do the big crowning of someone in their hometown.
They beat Drew at Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, but then they let him sing at the end, so everything was okay.
It's fine. Yeah, true. Yeah, but when it comes to the PLE schedule, though, it's a good problem to have that, like, hey, we got a lot of talent that's over. We got a lot of we got talent that's over. We got titles that people want to defend, and we got stories that we can kind of sit on and play with. They're all of us. We don't have to wrap things up immediately, despite all of these PLEs coming up.
Yeah, going back to Damian Priest before we start wrapping up. Priest in the post-show presser, I really, really loved his answers, and I loved just the way he was. He's always been cool. He's always been calm, collected, and I like that a lot of the questions were representation questions, and they were also, comfortable. And he was very confident, and he knows he deserves this, and he also knows that he's been given this opportunity before in NXT. I think that this is a good step for him. This is going to be a big step, but it's also not the main title. So this is it's like the training wheels of world titles right now in WWE, having the World Heavyweight Championship. And that's okay. You got to have sometimes the training wheels that used to be the Intercontinental or the US Championship. Right now, it's whatever the other title is on whatever brand the Undisputed Champion is on. So I did like that. And honestly, again, I'm upset. No hot tub photo.
yet. I mean, maybe there's a big hot tub celebration tonight. Maybe that's on Raw tonight.
The Judgment Day headquarters gets fitted with a hot tub for. Oh my God.
There you go.
We're thinking about it. We got this. And then next year, WrestleMania, we get to use the hot tub for our interviews.
You gotta let go the hot tubs. So you got to.
I'm
Maybe when we're in Mustafa Ali's cabinet,
Yeah.
we can get the hot tub. Okay.
The man's everywhere. Do you think he can bring a hot tub everywhere, or we're just gonna have to source one everywhere we go?
Yeah, probably have to source it. That's okay.
Campaign expenses coming back to bite us in the ass. Anyway,
shout out to Bailey.
Yes,
Bailey rules.
She does. This is one of those. The story is going to become more interesting now that she has the title. I feel like there is a rematch in the future between her and Io Sky. That's fine because the match they had on Sunday was great. But I'm looking forward to seeing what next beat in the story exists. And then, of course, who's going to step up to Bailey? I mean, Tiffany Stratton's obviously someone who was left off the card. I think they're trying to retool her and figure out what presentation they wanted to have because they brought her up expecting her to be a heel. And then suddenly everything got flipped on its head. So they put her on media day because everyone loves her. But she could be next in line to take on someone like Bailey. Maybe even join up with Bailey for a little bit to take on Damage Control.
Yeah, we shall see. I'm looking forward to Bailey's run. I'm glad Bailey got Paramore Simmer for the video package. Fortunately, couldn't scheduling and everything, but she really deserved that moment. You could tell it meant a lot to her. Io was so good in that match as well. The flip outs of the Rose Plant was so good. I would have liked more out of Io's run overall. I do think, Damage Control, they're going to have to do some big rebounding here. I don't know quite what that looks like because Jade, Bianca, and Naomi are such a force. But Damage Control should be still presented strong moving forward because there's a lot of talent in that group. People are mentioning Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany. I don't know if I'd do Tiffany and Bailey immediately just because you almost feel like you want to crown Tiffany in Bailey's Bailey's run to be a little extended, but
people are mentioning
I can also get it.
Ring. People have mentioned Queen of the Ring, which I think is a good opportunity for Tiffany as well.
Yeah.
See how those brackets pan out when they announce them. Luckily not going to be like a week before the event. They'll hopefully have some brackets to give us a couple of weeks before the show itself.
Yeah, Bailey, I thought that was the best match. There was some really good matches on the show last night. But I really liked Bailey and Io just from a in-ring perspective and the stories to go along with it up until the main event, which obviously was an emotional kind of roller coaster out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'd love to tell you that we have a preview for the Raw after Mania, but WWE doesn't have it either. Triple H was up partying way too hard last night. So we don't have one. I'm looking everywhere and I don't see anything.
No, they haven't announced anything. There's still, a lot of people. John Cena's still in town. John Cena show up tonight. Jacob Fatu show up.
Yeah,
tonight.
There you go. There's your first challenger for Cody Rhodes. Former MLW world champion Jacob Fatu.
Honestly, I don't know if you're saying that facetiously. I kind of thought it might have be the case.
So again, on a Raw like this one, to bring another story out of it, I don't hate it. But he's got to be a bastard when he comes in. I'm not talking about Pac. He's got to take out Cody. It's got to look bad, and it's got to be a questionable. Like he comes in, people are like, who the hell is this dude? Nobody knows, and then throughout the show, it becomes wreaking havoc until he gets his match. He just wants Cody. I don't hate it, but you really had to work your balls off to make him on night one the guy, and he's already huge. He's physically, he is imposing. He looks good. Will it be enough to do a main event match that probably ends in some sort of shenanigans? He was sent by The Rock. They're gonna
No,
run
they're
over
not
Cody Rhodes.
They're not gonna wrestle tonight. It's not like Fatu's not gonna wrestle Cody tonight. I would just
Why not?
be no.
Why
I would
not?
introduce him.
Why not have him show up in the opening segment, beat the crap out of Cody, and Cody says, "You know what? I'll fight him. Screw this guy. I know who you are. Blah blah blah. This is who he is. He's probably sent by Roman Reigns. I'll beat his ass like I beat the rest of the family's ass." I don't think it buries night one by doing that, by the way. I think it gives you an opportunity to start the match, probably do a non-finish of some sorts.
Yeah, but I don't like doing a non-finish in the main event of the show. So I always, just personal preference, would never try to book that kind of thing. I think he can show up. I think he can destroy Cody. It can lead to something down the line. I would not do that match first day. I just that would not really be my call, because he's gonna come in. They're likely going to make him a complete killer. You put Heyman next to him, by the way, that's immediately sold. Just he's gonna be bloodline, so he's immediately Jacob Fatu. His stuff looks really good too. That was always my complaint about Solo, is the presentation isn't necessarily bad, but some of his stuff just doesn't look like it should for the presentation you get. You don't have that issue with Fatu. Like his stuff looks really good.
We'll see. It could easily be that Cody has a match and Fatu beats him up at the match. Like Cody has a match with somebody else, and then Fatu comes in afterwards and beats the shit out of Cody. And that's how they go off the air. Fatu standing strong with Paul Heyman standing next to him. And that's the introduction. Could do that.
It's possible Rock shows up tonight, and that you mentioned kind of having
beat up Roman Reigns.
You mentioned Fatu being sent by The Rock. Like, it's possible they allude as much to that. Is Rock shows up and reminds Cody, I beat you at WrestleMania. I beat your ass for these past few weeks. I'm going to continue to beat your ass, and I'm going to take that title from you, but not tonight. He just does the whole Cody speech all back to him. And then, it sets it up for later, but then we see Fatu at the end of the show, and we learn, oh, that's what Rock meant by, continuing to beat the shit out of Cody.
Maybe you tease a 6-man. You do the Cody, Jey Uso, and Seth Rollins, and they tease it's going to be Jimmy, Roman, and they'll tease The Rock, and then it becomes whatever it is, and then that match devolves in Fatu, yada yada yada. Could do that.
I'm not having Fatu like wrestle in any capacity. You don't want to do a 6-man where
I'm now saying Fatu comes in at the end of the match and he beats the shit out of everyone. That's what I'm saying is the end of it. He takes out.
Okay, I wouldn't do 6-man. I'd do tag, because otherwise the baby faces get the advantage, and that's stupid. So
because Fatu comes in after. I'm saying they set up a 6-man. Fatu's not the 6-man. I'm saying they do Roman, Jimmy, and
Roman's not wrestling though.
No, but they tease it. They tease Rock is going to do it, and then before the match starts, it's similar to last year. That's the problem. Where Brock and Cody were going to
again. This is why you just do a tag. Do Cody and Jimmy against Jay and Solo, or flip the brothers there. But do Cody and Jay against Jimmy and Solo. Why are you doing a 6-man and teasing, oh, The Rock, oh, the Roman, but then delivering Fatu? Don't do that.
I would bring in Fatu after the match has started, because you got to at least start. You got to give him a reason to stay tuned in. The Rock's going to wrestle on Raw for the first time in X amount of years.
You're bullshitting the fans if you do that, Joel. Why are you going to say The Rock's going to wrestle and then The Rock's not going to wrestle? Just do a tag team match. Don't lie to the fans, and then
fans aren't going to
bring in Fatu,
because the fans aren't going to stick around if it's going to be,
Joel,
this is the match and there's no Rock and Roman.
They're going to be more pissed if they're like, oh, The Rock and Roman are going to wrestle again. That you just mentioned they did this last year. People at least last year.
What I was trying to say was they did it with Brock coming in as Cody's partner, and then Brock immediately turned on Cody, and that's what I'm saying. You cannot do in that. You can't have.
You're doing worse. You're trying to do worse by saying, "Hey, Rock's gonna
By the way,
wrestle. Roman's
Fuck you
gonna
guys saying
wrestle."
it's Vince booking. It's not Vince booking because the same shit is going. Like it's not. It's not what you
It's
think this is.
look. I don't want to put Vince booking on it, but it's not good booking.
They would still do it. They book a match, get it going, and then have someone come in and beat the shit out of them. How do you think the Good Brothers were brought in?
They didn't lie and say, "Hey, you're gonna see the Rock and Roman Reigns
You
wrestle."
can have them come in, do their entrances, stand on the turnbuckle or stand on the ring and get ready for the tag, do a couple of moves, and then you bring out Fatu.
Just do a tag team match and then have Fatu come in. Why are you trying to lie and say the Rock and Roman are going to wrestle when they're not?
People will survive if you have this tease. If they have the intro, they have them come in, they take a couple of bumps, and then it ends with a shit show, but at least it moves you forward because that's what you're trying to do is move forward to the next episode, move over to the next story.
Okay, people might survive, but you are now this is an issue of lying to the fan base and why so many people were
How am I
turned
lying
off.
to the fan base by having the intros come in? They're wearing the gear, they take a few bumps, the match gets started, and then you have Fatu come in mid-match, beginning match, whatever it is, and get involved.
Okay, fine. If they're actually going to the way you presented it, the first is that they weren't wrestling at all. Now you were saying, "Oh, they're going to take a few bumps," which is different than how you first presented
before
this.
you cut me off and started talking.
No,
like
it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Yes,
Joel,
it
you
was.
said they weren't going to wrestle. You said they were not going to wrestle. Now you have changed course and said, "Oh, okay, they can come in and take a few bumps."
Yeah, and the second that I said they're not going to wrestle, I turned around and said, "No, maybe they will," and then you started shitting on me. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, do I need to go back and rewind the tape here?
I mean, if you really want to spend all that time, because I'm good. I don't need it. I don't care enough about it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. So there's no Raw preview. So we got nothing else to say.
Show the footage. Roll the tape of Joel being wrong. Exclusive footage of Joel being wrong will air on Wednesday.
Take a look.
I'm not doing that. Plug the stuff. Let's go home.
No, hold on. The people want to.
No, I'm not. I don't have time for this. I'd like to go and have some lunch.
Okay.
I have not eaten today. I'm done.
Okay.
Plug the shit. Let's go home.
I don't have anything to plug.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
You always have something to plug.
I don't.
You did 300 articles yesterday. One of those things you might want to plug?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Giving you the opportunity.
Joel, do I ever plug anything?
Yes, you did on Friday.
I don't
You want to roll the footage on that one?
Sure.
I'm not going to find it, so I don't give a shit. Someone else can do it.
All right.
Get a shorts guy.
I don't have anything to plug. Thanks everybody for a great Mania week. It was a lot of work. I hope everybody had fun.
I had fun. We should all go home. Go hug your loved ones. Don't stare too in the sun. There's an eclipse today. I'm Metro Pearl, JOELPERL. We're going to be back on Wednesday. Then we'll talk about everything else. How about that? Okay. We'll talk about everything else. See who was right after Mania. How's that?
Shout out to my lovely wife, by the way. Thank you to her.
Yeah, she's all right. I like her a lot. Your better half. Till then, we'll see you on Wednesday. Cheers.